we stayed in our hometowns. How's that? Does that work?
You wouldn't
Stayed
take
in
one
our
for the team.
hometowns.
Somebody else can do that. Everybody on the team doesn't have to take a hometown discount.
Yeah, but you guys both bent this company over a barrel.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly how it went down.
Which
Look,
I
man,
think is wrong.
You only get to do free agency
You notice how
in
the
your 30s.
you notice how the
a few times.
paper towels haven't been refilled in like 2 weeks?
I haven't noticed.
Why do you think that
What are you
is?
talking about? There's paper towels
They
downstairs
had to-
bathroom.
They had to,
There's
yeah,
paper-
downstairs.
Well, that's the one I go to usually.
No paper towels out here.
Oh, really?
No paper towels in the kitchen. Why do you think that is? Because they had to make cuts when they paid you guys.
Huh.
You
They
think
chose-
that's what it is?
They chose the paper towels, huh?
Well, they chose you guys.
I don't even know who refills those here.
Exactly, because nobody does it anymore.
Did somebody do it before?
The person who did is filing for
Or
unemployment
is it just
right
like
now.
Parks has been doing it this entire time and decided, no, that's it.
Well, they
I'm not
were waiting.
refilling
They-
paper towels anymore.
They heard we hired some interns who I think start this week or next week. And they said, hey, we'll just have some of the interns handle that. Doesn't our intern start like this week?
I think maybe even as early as today.
Again, not on this show, though. They're going to be doing other tasks as well as this show, I think, is part of
Probably
the setup.
onboarding today, you know?
Yeah, a little HR stuff. They didn't want us to teach them that.
Why? We've never gotten in any kind of trouble. I have personally been suspended 0 times
That's
since
true.
I've worked here.
Same. That's accurate. Nick, I think, can say the same. Yeah, he says 0 times as well.
I think I've been threatened with, disciplinary action, but that's different. That's merely just the threat of it. That doesn't count for anything, really, when you think about
Yeah,
it.
as the text line says, Cody and I actually are viewing this now like Patrick Mahomes going forward, just legacy. That's what it'll be when we negotiate, just giving flexibility in our contracts.
Yeah, that's it. They want to sign me to a 10-year guaranteed deal. Guaranteed deal? I just want you to know how hard those...
Mahomes didn't even get that, technically.
Well, I want a rolling guarantee 2 years out.
Guarantee mechanism.
I want guaranteed mechanism. I want rolling guarantees.
Okay.
2 years out, you have to tell me that you're going to keep me employed a couple years from now. And then we're
Then
talking.
you're in. Okay.
Yeah.
Get to have a good weekend?
Probably not going to get that. Yeah, I guess you got an extra long one. Must have been nice, huh?
Yeah, the weekend
4
ended
days.
A while ago for us.
I can only
Your
imagine.
whole extra day.
I can only imagine what slanderous things were said about me on the show yesterday. I received a few texts from some listeners/friends that mentioned there were a few things that were said.
I think
Snitches. By the way, if I ever find out that you snitch on us, like if what we say on the radio stays on the radio. Don't be taking it to the text messages. And if I find out who you are, you'll be banished. You'll be banned from listening to the show.
No, I on Monday was hoping to be able to just chill out by the pool, go drink some more high noons, because that's what I certainly was doing Saturday and Sunday. Woke up sick.
We saw.
Yeah, woke up sick on Monday. Didn't want to get you guys
Hungover,
sick.
you mean?
I was doing you guys a favor. No need to.
That's a rich way to put it. Doing us a favor.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
All the extra work we had to do.
No need to hide behind. No need. Nick, I know Nick normally would just scream HIPAA at this exact moment, but no, I had basically tested for strep, believe it or not, and so you're contagious even when you start antibiotics for like 48 hours, and so
you can
now it's
produce
been
that positive test for us, right?
I can show you the prescription for the amoxicillin if you would like.
Oh yeah, like it's hard to get an amoxicillin prescription.
I would just say, and you can see the date of the office visit.
Which alley did you go down for that?
Yeah, I don't want to see the data of the I want to see the actual positive test.
Now you don't want to see. I
want to see the test result.
I have the prescription for you, if you would like to see it.
The doctor that you went and saw?
Nick.
Can I give her name out? I don't know.
Can you give her name out?
I think you have to.
Dr. Fiscus.
I don't think doctor-patient confidentiality works for the doctor. I don't think they get that confidentiality. Is that how any of this works?
There it is. Anyway, so
Dr.
that's why I wasn't here. I
Fiscus.
was doing you guys a favor.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome,
for your
guys.
selflessness.
You're welcome. And so we're back, feeling a lot better.
Glad.
Here's the other funny thing. Here's the other
thing that came up.
Magically better.
I was gonna say,
You were tweeting while sick. Seemed like you were just fine when you wanted to dunk on Eli Drinkwitz.
So that's the funny thing, by the way. You have this perception that if you are sick, you are physically incapable of tweeting. You don't think I can tweet while laying in my bed, sitting in my underwear?
Here's the official Cody and Gold policy, which is the same rules as a kid. if you are sick, you don't get to play with your friends.
I'm not a child.
You don't get to play with your friends. You don't get to get on Twitter and talk to your buddies.
Yep, but I'm not a child, so I can do whatever the hell I want. But also, I was tweeting from my couch or from my bed. The other part I was going to mention before you said something there is, much like
was there a third thing?
Much like you, I have plenty of vacation. If I truly just didn't want to come to work, I could take a vacation.
Wow.
No, you can't take a vacation on 1 day's notice.
But I was sick.
I guess you could. I
can show
how
you
Carrington does
the
it.
prescription. Still, I have to take amoxicillin for the next 10 days, by the way.
10 days?
Yeah. I was around my nephews, and it turns out I hadn't been tested for strep probably since I was in 6th grade.
I've never had strep.
Yeah, well, we know you've never had anything.
I've had lots of things happen to me in many jobs. I just haven't had strep.
But yeah.
Is that weird to not have had that?
But, well, it's weird. Usually it's more of a rare, unless you're around kids for.
I would have fought
adults
through
to
it personally. That's just me. I'm
And
just
it's
one
not
man.
about fighting through it. It's
For some of us, it is.
Mr. I'm going to Paris. You want to get strep throat right before your trip to Paris?
When I take time off work, I usually give the company months advance. Not hours.
I don't think Nick wants to get into who's working more in the next month conversation. That one doesn't look good for you.
Well, no, I'm allowed to take vacation days.
Yeah, and
That's what he just said.
Well, yeah, what are you talking
Yeah, but
about?
I don't take. I don't say, hey, by the way, I'm leaving tomorrow. Hope you guys can
that's
handle
why,
it without
Nick,
me.
That's why they're called sick days. Those are sick days. When you're sick, turns out.
Well, I'm saying, what if you're not actually sick?
Could you imagine at the beginning of the year if there was a test and it would tell you exactly what days throughout the entire year you were going to get sick?
Did you properly put in sick time with the company?
No. Wow. You guys say that.
That's tough. You know?
That's a bad look. That's a bad look.
I mean, what if you actually get sick and they have to give you like a real long sickness and they have to give you an extra sick day that you didn't have? I don't know. I think
There are
not that long ago.
protocols here.
Yeah.
Not that long ago, I was on that portal. I have 500 hours
Correct.
of sick time.
Correct.
So,
We have
out.
these protocols in place for a reason.
Yeah. It's called texting and talking to the boss. Everything's good. That's all that matters. I don't have to get your approval. You're also, again, I don't think...
Whatever happened to just like
I don't think Nick
just doing
wants
things the right way.
I don't think Nick wants to talk about who's working more in the next month.
It's not about who's working more,
It's not
it's
a good
about-
conversation. I honestly think you might be on more vacation days than shows next month.
Oh, I am. I'm gonna be gone for like 2 weeks next month.
I think so.
But you know what? I got those cleared through the boss.
did you put them in through
Much like
Yeah.
I got mine cleared
Weeks
through
and
the boss.
weeks in advance. So there's plenty of planning and preparation going into
You had
that.
to put in a lot of extra work, all those character concerns podcasts, so we could earn them.
I earned those
That's right.
the right way.
Well, it's good to be back with you, Cody. Maybe Nick.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That
He
might change.
started it.
I didn't. I'm innocent. That's whataboutism, Nick. Do you throw this at me?
He's doing whataboutism to me.
Yeah, he is.
It turns out, though, yesterday, much like for the last week now, DeAndre Hopkins, that stuff's never going away, right? And I mean, this thing is going to drag out for a while. Last week, I asked you guys the question if he had an agent, and we weren't sure.
He does now.
He didn't then because he just signed an agent, and it got us thinking a little bit more about this notion. We hear it in sports all the time, right? Team-friendly deals. Like they get overblown all the time, right? This notion of hometown discounts and team-friendly deals, and you're willing to take less to win. I'm not saying it never happens, but
It's rare. We should be talking about it like it is. It is impossibly rare. It is the once in a lifetime. It is the once in the entire Patrick Mahomes era rare, right? Because tell me a situation that is a more perfect free agency fit at this exact moment. DeAndre Hopkins, who's a future Hall of Famer, can go to the defending Super Bowl champions with the #1 quarterback in the NFL on the #1 offense in the NFL and would immediately be placed as their #1 wide receiver on the roster in one of the most forward-thinking offenses in the NFL. It is, and it could not be, a better fit. It is a perfect fit.
Sure.
But the only way he ends up here still is if he's like, sure, cool, I'll take less money. And so what? He hired an agent yesterday, and that agent's like, you know what? I am happy to be your agent, and I think my first order of business is to cut you. Incentive-laden deal for a guy who is still a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL? That's why I have a hard time making the leap that he's coming here, because I just don't know that we're going to have a lot of these. They did the team the favor. The Chiefs have already maxed out their allotment of that with Mahomes and Kelsey, in my opinion.
It's a lot easier to have a player craft a deal, structure a deal that's friendly to the team when it's a homegrown talent as well. I mean, and they've spent X amount of years. I mean, that's why you reference the 3 players there. and Chris Jones this offseason with an extension. Whether or not it's not so much taking discounts, it is being flexible in the structure that you're willing to negotiate what allows your team to continue to build a championship roster. If you're someone from the outside that's never been part of the organization, and potentially we're talking about a one-year deal, what is your incentive? Other than plain and simply, you want to win a championship. Because if that is truly all he cares about, then yeah, Kansas City, it's a no-brainer. That's where you're going. But understandably so, that's not what it's only about. And this is also, to me, much like the Beckham situation. Last year in the season, we were talking about, hey, just don't go to Buffalo. And Buffalo was saying, hey, just don't go to Kansas City. That's kind of where I'm at on the DeAndre Hopkins situation. I don't think it's a great chance that he comes to Kansas City. It's not zero or anything like that. But don't go to Buffalo, right? Don't go to Buffalo. If you want to go to Cleveland, go right ahead. Go play with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland.
I don't care. That means
that's
nothing.
Fine. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Go to Dallas. That's fine.
Be better. But
go to Dallas. That's perfectly
the NFC.
fine
I don't
as well.
care. I don't have to worry about you to the Super Bowl.
That's kind of where I'm at with the DeAndre Hopkins situation. And I'm not faulting him, by the way, for taking more money if that's what he's wanting. But I think Odell Beckham Jr., when he got 1 year for 15, it makes it awfully difficult if I'm DeAndre Hopkins to sit there and just be okay with taking a $10 million deal with incentives to get to 15. I'm better than Odell Beckham.
Well, there's no doubt about that, I would say. But if he's going to end up in Buffalo, then it's the same thing either way, right? Like if he's going to end up in Buffalo, then it's the same general logic. He is going to have to take a team-friendly deal. They're back in the same situation as before. That's just the reality of it. They're cap strapped. They spent all their money last year. This is why the Chiefs, like when all that reporting came out that the Chiefs were the closest to trying to trade for him, this is why they wanted to trade for him. They thought that there was a deal probably to make with Arizona where Arizona took so much of that salary that DeAndre Hopkins would still be getting paid, but not be getting paid by the Chiefs. But the problem was that for Arizona is that whatever draft pick you were being offered wasn't worth the non-guaranteed contract that DeAndre Hopkins had. Hopkins was out of guarantees. He had no more left in his contract. So by cutting them, while they have to suffer the cap hit, Gold, they do not have to suffer the actual paying him part of it. And if you're an organization looking to rebuild and want all the money in the world and want to just get the cap hit out of the way, it actually makes, now in retrospect, more sense to cut him than to have held on to him, even though you can afford him. And it made more sense to cut him than it was to trade him.
And they're trying to lose games in Arizona. I know deep down the players in the locker room aren't, but organizationally, the Cardinals are trying to set themselves up to be in a great spot come draft night next year when the draft takes place in Detroit, and for them to have the flexibility of getting an absolute king's ransom for the number 1 overall pick or drafting Caleb Williams. I don't know if we've had a year in a while where it's clear as day, by the way, that the team that's going to be the worst in the league. We've had there's a few teams battling out. I think the gap between Arizona and the next worst team is going to be 2 wins or more. Like I think clear as day, the Cardinals are going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. It's not close.
I mean, Matt Verderam was on with us last week, and he said it's clear they want to lose so they can get Caleb Williams and then figure out what to do with Kyler Murray.
I'm still not convinced that they're going to draft Caleb Williams because that Kyler Murray contract is very problematic.
How the hell would
it's
you
not
trade
the same as people cite Josh Rosen. Way different. Josh Rosen was on a rookie contract still. That was easy to just ship away. Kyler Murray, you got to find somebody that's willing to eat some of that contract, if not all of it. Good luck. Because why would I do that if I'm another organization? Why would I bail out the Arizona Cardinals?
No, I don't. I wouldn't. I mean, you'd have to just believe that he's the guy. And here's the thing. Teams they're desperate enough for quarterbacks sometimes. They'll do it. Like, I mean, we just saw this. You weren't here, but we talked about how badly the Raiders screwed up the Jimmy G thing. They got pressured because they're like, oh, my God, we only have 48 hours to exclusively negotiate with him. What are we going to do? And let's just give him a contract, and then found out his body's broken, and they're like, well, God, what do we do now? I guess we'll just rework the deal.
Yeah, that whole thing got overblown to me yesterday. Not from you guys, just in general. Over the whole weekend, I saw that. While I was on Twitter, I wasn't allowed to. I was sick, I guess. But I was on Twitter, and I was seeing that. And that was funny to me because deep down, the Raiders still wouldn't have signed Garoppolo if they actually thought he wouldn't be ready to play. I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to be ready to play, but if they were like, hey, we really don't think he can pass a physical at any point,
no,
they wouldn't have signed him. Like, I think he got overblown. That's Mike Florio, who's still pissed off that everybody's upset with him about the Mahomes stuff. Now he's overcompensating all weekend long.
Well, there's some portion of that, but there were other people talking about it. And I think largely this is where, like, this deal kind of comes around to it, which is Like this idea that there's these players and they're going to take all these deals, and it's just not. It doesn't work that way most of the time. And honestly, you should feel pretty fortunate that in Kansas City, you have two guys who essentially take team-friendly deals right now: Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Look, right now, I can't give you a third. Everyone else who's on a team-friendly deal is a rookie. Maybe Chris Jones makes his deal friendly-ish, but in the end, he's still going to be one of the top-paid defensive tackles in the NFL.
Well, that's where it's just like Mahomes, where we can talk about Mahomes' deal being friendly. He's still going to make $44-something million this year. It's all about the flexibility within the contract. That, to me, is how we should view when we discuss team-friendly deals and all that. It's not the pure dollar amount. It is how much flexibility is the player willing to give. And if you're talking about DeAndre Hopkins, and it's a one-year contract, that leaves you no flexibility. Plain and simple. There's more flexibility in signing Hopkins to
and I would give him a multi-year deal. I'm not worried about him falling apart in 2 years.
Because even though the Chiefs can restructure different contracts or give extensions to Chris Jones to free up cap space for Hopkins, there's still the question of, do they want to commit actual cash immediately to DeAndre Hopkins? Or even if you're freeing up cap space, if it's a one-year deal, unless you're going to do the dead years like they did with Beckham and
I'd be fine with.
In Baltimore, you need to have you're potentially having $10, $12 million in cap space. And so I think the Chiefs have shown us that there's a dollar amount they're willing to go to with a lot of these guys. I know Hopkins is a different beast, but I don't think the Bills are willing to do it, and I don't think the Chiefs are willing to do it.
Yesterday, you were gone. JJ Piccolo joined the show as he does every other Tuesday here on the show, and Big Lee had asked him a question about COVID. And we know in talking to JJ before and all this other stuff, one of the things that had come up organizationally a lot is this idea that there was a lot of lost development during the COVID years. And he was asked the question, like, do you still think that's a factor? And he was very blunt in saying, frankly, I don't want that to be an excuse anymore. I'm not going to use that as an excuse anymore. Yes, it hurt us in the moment. But come on, man. We're years past it. We're not talking about that anymore. We're back to our normal amount of innings we're willing to let minor leaguers pitch. Everything's back to normal. We have to be about the process now, which made me wonder not about that excuse anymore, but for how long will we use the Dayton excuse? Because honestly, I think it's fair right now. I think it's more than fair to say that a lot of these organizations' problems that currently exist right now are Dayton Moore's fault. And JJ is cleaning up some of that mess of what had been some organizational failures over the last few years, both from a drafting and development standpoint, that have led this team to be where they are currently record-wise. But I think it's less time than I would normally give a GM because JJ was involved in some of these decisions. Normal GM, I'd say 3 to 4 years. Then you're your own man. These are your own players. Everyone's come up through your system. But because these are your players that you helped draft and you helped do it, but now you're changing the way they develop, I'll give you 2. You get the Dayton excuse of, he is what put us in this position for this year and next year, and then I'm done having that conversation just as long as JJ's still the general manager of the team, which I assume he will be. I'm out of the Dayton is what's causing these issues part.
The tricky part is we know the way just baseball works, and when you're developing pitchers and the time it takes, it's not as,
2 years is a short time period.
Yeah. Now, I'm all about getting rid of the excuses, though. Now, if we're being honest and you're asking me to assign, what percentage of the issues lie on everybody's shoulders, over 50% of it still is on Dayton Moore. And then after that, you can break it down and whether or not it's JJ or John Sherman or Mike Matheny, or
50%.
Cal Eldred, or just go on and on and on. We can break up the pie.
Let me do it quick. I'd probably say 50%. Like if I just did the 4 main guys, Quatraro, JJ, Dayton, and Sherman. 50% Dayton, 25% Sherman, 15% JJ, and 5% Quatraro. And I'm not even sure he deserves 5.
Mostly
if we're being honest, I could probably put him 0% if I wanted to, but there have been a few questionable in-game stuff maybe I'd kick around.
Yeah, mostly aligned, I would say, on that. Well, I guess I've had 50% or so on Dayton, and then after that, I would still probably list JJ and then John Sherman just right below that. I mean, it's tricky because you still have so many. It's not just the general manager, but we talked about this last week with the scouting department. I mean, if we're acknowledging that we're seeing development with pitching and hitting with guys that are now in the big leagues, with Zumwalt on the hitting end and some of the changes we've seen there over the last year or two, then at some point, if the problem is the guys coming up through the minors as well, then perhaps the talent evaluation is off. And perhaps the scouting through the draft, which is coming up here pretty soon, I think.
We had a mock draft sounder for the Royals yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Do you remember who it was, Nick?
Perhaps there needs to be changes in the scouting department. That, to me, is the next thing. Otherwise, it's not that much different.
I mean, and I think there's still plenty of time for the story to be written on John Sherman and where all these things are, and I still think he can both want a new stadium and focus on the team. I just think he's had 4 years to spend actual dollars on the roster, and he hasn't. So, I mean, that's why he gets a chunk of the blame. Like, he's chosen not to really spend any free agency dollars over the last, since he's owned the team. And the team's been bad. And he's made it clear that part of that is the old Glass model, which is prove to me that this team is ready to compete and I'll spend the money you want me to spend. And we talked about the $100 Dozier contract and how much money was still left on that. That counts towards the spending end, in fairness, in my opinion. But it's like, start spending more and then we can have a conversation. Because part of the roster issues are you have decided not to throw an influx of talent at it. And instead it's seven, it's
influx
Myers.
Of money. Gotcha.
It's Meyer, right?
Yeah.
We invited a 30-year-old non-roster invitee, and now he's on the major league staff. That's not throwing money at the problem. That's just hoping. That's prayers. It's a little bit different. But I'll give it 2 years. I think this year, the rest of this year and next year, and then I want to start being like, this is your ship.
Yeah, for me, that's next year. For me, that's next year.
You're not even okay. You're kind of shorter than me.
For me, it's this offseason and next year, and we can't just be sitting here. You can acknowledge the challenges that exist and just how far some of the decisions made by Dayton Moore set back the organization. But I also heading into next year, it'll be the second full season now as a general manager. I cannot continue just to say, well, look what happened back in 2020 or 2021, 2022. At some point. You do have to move forward and stop using that as reasoning for everything.
And like somebody's pointing out, like JJ was in charge of the youth development. He was for a year. And that year produced better results than it had in a while. But it's hard. I mean, there's still a timeline of success for any general manager, for any manager, for any player. That's just the way that this works. JJ's timeline is a bit weird because you'd admit, like, if there was a brand new general manager tomorrow, we'd be talking 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
When you get the new job as a general manager, considering how long it takes to build up an organization.
But that's the thing.
But JJ was a part of the last organization, so his timeline's truncated.
John Sherman chose to not completely clean house. I was okay with that. Still am okay with that. But I think there has to be other steps forward from that. This is why I keep mentioning the scouting department. Like, to me, that's the next step in the offseason that has to be revisited. If we're talking about some of the strides in the development side at the big leagues with some of these pitching and the changes that we've seen there, maybe you think it's Carlos Hernandez this year. Maybe you think you've seen other glimpses. Of course, he pitched yesterday, coming in after Zach Greinke. Maybe you think it's that. Okay, well then, are these young group of pitchers, even these young hitters? Was there an issue in terms of scouting some of them as well? What did you miss? Right. I think that has to be addressed in the offseason as well.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to have a nice, long, hard look in the mirror at the end of the year, because even when you think things are going to go bad, you never envision they'll go quite this bad.
All right, coming up next, man, the Chiefs living rent-free out in Cincinnati. That's next.
Cody and Gold.
Gold, I want a new weekly segment for you called The Steam Room.
But you got to do it shirtless.
That's Cody's request.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Use a BetMGM bonus bet to place your next wager on any game in any sport. To receive your bonus bet, simply log into BetMGM account every Saturday and Wednesday between May 13th and June 7th to bet on any game of your choice. Then add any type of bet on any game to your bet slip and activate your bonus bet. There is no deposit or additional wager required. Want even more BetMGM action? Enjoy the daily promotions, live betting options, and the all-new signature bets only at BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Promotion may differ per customer. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years in age and older to physically present in Kansas to bet. Existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued at non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with a good housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820, or check out the website, windowworld.com.
Come see a world-famous Budweiser Clydesdale this Friday at Side Pockets in Lee Summit from 4 to 6 p.m. and this Saturday at Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park from 3 to 5 p.m. Come see a Budweiser Clydesdale and enjoy the limited edition Folds of Honor Budweiser and Bud Light bottles.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
The Memorial Day sale is on at Mattress Firm. Save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets and get a $300 instant gift.
Join the 69 Express Project. We're hiring for all positions. Stop by Country Inn & Suites in Lawrence next Thursday, June 8th from 3 to 6 p.m. for on-site interviews. Start earning competitive wages and benefits immediately. Country Inn & Suites in Lawrence, June 8th from 3 till 6.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
With summer savings at the Home Depot, we'll get your kitchen clicking. With top brand appliances, like a new GE refrigerator with internal water dispenser for a crisp, cool glass of water every time. Or a GE oven with built-in air fryer for healthier, crispier options with no preheating. Plus, with convenient shopping in-store and online at the Home Depot, your innovative new appliances are just a click away, too. Save up to 30% on select appliances plus $300 off select refrigerators at the Home Depot. Pricing valid May 18th through June 7th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through June, purchase online with Beacon Pro Plus, web or app, and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
Royals baseball is in full swing.
That ball is gone. It's a home run by Vinny Pasquantino.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
Looks up and it's gone. MJ Melendez hits a solo homer over the right center field fence.
Royals baseball. Royals announcers streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com.
I was stressed about the car buying experience, and Max Motors could not have made it any easier. I gave them my budget, and in minutes, I had several cars to choose from. And my trade-in offer, wow. I'm now on my second car with them.
Worth the drive from anywhere. Visit MaxMotors.com.
All right, just getting started here on Wednesday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Short with you. Coming up in about 7 minutes or so, Nick Saban wants to do something like the NFL. It's funny how he's now coming around to this idea. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. But there's a reason why I think we talk about the Chiefs and Bengals a little bit differently than we ever did Chiefs and Bills for a couple of year stretch. The Bills are absolutely a contender in the AFC. But not only did you have the two AFC title games, and of course the Chiefs losing one of them, which resulted in Cincy going to the Super Bowl, that's something that did not happen in the matchup so far with Buffalo. Buffalo's beat you in regular season games. They haven't beat you in postseason games. That right away adds to it. But we also didn't get off-season stuff involving players speaking about acquisitions and acting as if they got one over on the Chiefs. That wasn't kind of stuff coming out of Buffalo. But that's exactly what's going on in Cincinnati. Tyler Boyd, one of the wide receivers for Cincinnati, had this to say about Orlando Brown Jr., former Chiefs left tackle, now being on Cincinnati.
I mean, I love him, because, we have a nice little ride with the Chiefs, and to see him come over, it's like, yeah, we won the draw. But at the end of the day, he's a great player. No matter where he went, he's probably one of the best in his position. Just add him to what we got already. So allow Joe to have more time to give us the will to put up those points. So I'm just happy to have him.
Look, I told you I think the Orlando Brown Jr. signing makes the Cincinnati Bengals a whole line better. But the idea that we one-upped you, the Chiefs weren't battling out a contract negotiation between them and Cincinnati. Kansas City had exclusive rights for a little while to negotiate. Remember, they're the ones that said, no, we're actually not going to. We're not going to continue to pursue this, and they let them walk. No competition. We all know that. Those are facts. So that part's just funny, whatever. But even comments like that, man, show this is different with Cincinnati. There should be no doubt whatsoever of who's the team that Chiefs fans are going to be looking back on 10, 15 years from now, I think, for years of rivalry outside of their own division. Cincinnati, these are more reasons why they put themselves firmly in that conversation.
It's also when you know when you're second, Gold. And this isn't meant to just be like, oh, look at me, trashing Cincinnati because the Chiefs have, 3 Super Bowl rings in their history and Cincinnati has 0. The Chiefs have 2 over the last 5 years and Cincinnati has 0, and those things. It's that when you think your key to success is to take one player away from the other team, that's not how any of this works. That's the problem that this mindset entails, which is, we got your guy. Ha! You wanted him, and we got him. Now what are you going to do? You're like, well, I got to be honest with you. The biggest flaw in your logic here is they didn't want him that bad. They offered him a contract, and he turned it down last year. They offered him a contract, presumably again this year, and he's not interested. Which means the Chiefs only wanted him this many dollars worth. And you coming in there for what is a reasonable deal they got Orlando Brown Jr. for, doesn't just make you the off-season heroes because you took one player away from them. In a weird way, it's like, I took Mahomes' friend. You're like, okay, I don't care. Like, it's not, they replaced that player. Like, is this how you're going to feel when someone takes, I don't know, you away, Tyler Boyd? Or T. Higgins away, or those players? The NFL has free agency. Thinking you got one up on the Chiefs this offseason because you took one of their offensive linemen, of which they've already replaced twice, I guess, technically, with the Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor signings. I don't think they're all that heartbroken about it. If it's a bigger deal for you to get him than it is for the Chiefs to lose him, you didn't win.
I love it. It's fun. I like the drama adds to it. But yeah, one-upping somebody is actually winning games that matter. And that's why this rivalry is fun. Cincinnati has won some games that matter in the series. But the last laugh still is Kansas City winning an AFC title game over you and therefore going to the Super Bowl and ultimately winning a championship. They get the last laugh until you find a way to beat them again in an AFC title game, and it results in you going and winning a championship, or at the very least, winning in that AFC title game. That regular season matchup, whether they play week 7 or week 16, whatever it is this year, you beat Kansas City, it's a huge win, but again, regular season stuff doesn't matter. It matter what happens when these two teams face each other potentially again in the postseason. That's when the last laugh can be had. That's why heading into the playoff game, you and I think, Nick, we all said, hey, got no problem with Cincinnati talking all they want. At that point in time, they had won 3 in a row, remember? And
you were allowed to if all you got is win. Bad news for you is that the Chiefs won yet another Super Bowl and beat you in the AFC title game. So to your credit, all you have right now, if you're Cincinnati, is a regular season win. I really don't care. An AFC title game win, that is a good win. That did not result in you winning the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs won the Super Bowl right after that. So you got nothing. You got nothing. So the last thing you have left to brag is we got a guy. We took Orlando Brown Jr. Look, I like the trash talk between these two because it seems fairly obvious at this rate that the main NFL rivalry over the next decade is going to be these two teams. Like, I'd be shocked if there was another rivalry that took over this. Because I've made this very clear about rivalries in general. I'm not so sure. It's not that the Chiefs and Broncos won't forever have a little bit of it. They're in the same division, they'll have a little bit of juice together. They got very little juice right now. You know why? The Broncos haven't beaten the Chiefs since 2015. The Bengals and Chiefs has far more weight as a rivalry right now than Chiefs-Broncos. Chiefs and Cincinnati have never been a rival. We're never a rival until this moment. When you start playing in big important games, and you start thinking that taking one free agent from them is a big deal, then you're having a
as long as Joe Burrow is healthy and playing at this level, they're going to always be in the conversation. Same way we talk about with Mahomes. If he's healthy, the Chiefs every single year are going to be in the mix and be one of the favorites. Cincinnati's in that position right now as well. Their adjustment will be in about a year when you kind of hinted at it, which is when eventually they're not able to retain Chase with Higgins and Boyd, and they have to make that decision, which will be just to retain Jamar Chase, of course. But when they lose those other guys, can they continue to build a championship roster around Joe Burrow after?
Good news is it's got a year or two left.
That would be so. There's a couple years till that question comes up. But yeah, Cincinnati's not going anywhere, and this stuff is fun. I mean, there's the way the schedule is set up for Kansas City as well. There's a lot of games that have some extra storylines to them, but none have more than other than Philadelphia than the Cincinnati game on the schedule.
No, it will continue. And of course, it's late in the year this year, so it's got even more going in its direction this time. But no, I just wonder whether or not, like a lot of times in this, it's if you're thinking too much about the opponent, that's a bad thing. Do you think the Chiefs sit around? Let's say the Chiefs had signed Jesse Bates. I have a hard time imagining right now that the first thing they'd be like, you got one from Cincy. The statement for teams that aren't worried about the other team Gold is, we played against him. He's a really, really good player. Tough to get to, really difficult. That's why we thought he worked here. Not that we stole him from the other guy, Gold. That's never the motto of winning teams is, that guy's great. We played against him, and he's a huge pain in the ass. They're not even talking about Orlando Brown Jr. that way. They're not like, guys, was a brick wall. Couldn't get past him. Didn't know how to ever get past him against some unstoppable force. No, they're saying, we got your guy, and you wanted it. You're like, I don't care. It's like saying, I got your nose with a thumb in between it, but the person you're doing it to is 25. They're like, I know that's your thumb. It's not my nose. I don't care. You haven't fooled me. You didn't get me stuck in a trap.
Quite the example there. Did you just do this recently?
No.
I don't know if you just pulled that one recently.
That was just a random reference.
I don't know if you tried that.
I remember recently. They're 6-4, and even they might be too old for that game. I don't know for sure, but
probably.
That feels like it's more for babies.
We'll get to Nick's little notes in a couple minutes, but the spring meetings are going on for the SEC. And briefly yesterday, of course, there was the Eli Drinkwitz craziness until we got the full context of the...
I still think he was saying some crazy stuff.
Perhaps, but also I think it was Ross Dillinger. Somebody kind of did Eli a little dirty on that quote. Look, I'm not singing out on the line Eli Drinkwitz, but that quote that got sent out was doing Eli a little dirty without the full context, I will admit. Nick Saban also, of course, said some things that were interesting. The one that stands out the most, though, Cody, is he thinks college football should adopt a pay structure similar to what exists in the National Football League.
He says, quote, unionize it. Make it the NFL. make it the same for everyone. Everything they do in the NFL is great parity. If they had every team in 8 going to the final season, the NFL would love it. Here's the thing. He's not being truthful. He is only saying the things, because here's the thing. If everything is created equal in college football, it's still not equal because he's Alabama. He doesn't like the inequality that puts teams closer to him. His issue is not equality. His issue is now other people have advantages that we used to have. It just doesn't work. College football's not going to work that way. It's never going to be, or it's going to take a really, really, really long time. It's important to note, like, baseball's not even. Like, the only sport currently that is equal, or even perceived somewhat equal, is the NFL. It's the only one.
Well, you said he's not worried about being equal. He's worried about, he wants to create some type of union at the collegiate level, saying, quote, I have no problem, I mean, unionize it, make it like the NFL, it's going to be the same for everyone, that's his quote. I think that's better than what we have now. My issue with it is not the idea of potentially unionizing, is the fact that just a couple years ago, I guess it's been probably 5 or 6 now, Northwestern, among other schools, there was groups of players, college athletes, student athletes who tried to do that, and there was, of course, multiple coaches that thought it was a terrible idea. Now that NIL has become a thing, now there's a cap on the amount of money they can get. They want to rein it in. Now, look, in general, how many you get a union? There's a cap on the amount you can make. A salary cap for college football coaches. I've told you time and time again, I think NIL is fantastic, but I admit that there are loopholes that do need to be closed, and there needs to be some structure to that. I think we will get that at some point. I'm not so sure the notion of kind of having a unionized effort is the best for that. But having loopholes closed for NIL, I think that is a good idea. That happened. But Nick Saban all of a sudden coming around to this idea is only because what you were highlighting. Now that has become possible for other schools to, let's be honest, pay for play.
Yeah, they can outpay Alabama on a player. Not every player, but some.
We've talked about this with college basketball recruiting. A lot of the things that are going on right now were going on before, but now it's the money's funneled in a different way, and it's viewed, and it's above board right now. That's why it feels different. And that's something that I don't think Nick Saban is a big fan of, and so that's why now you have him. I also this morning on one of the national syndicated shows, Matt Brown, North Carolina, former Texas head coach, was saying that he also kind of is in support of something like this. You're going to start hearing more. You're going to start hearing more.
So rich, considering they didn't even want this in the first place, and now all of a sudden they want them to organize so that, I don't know, the teams have the advantage again.
You're going to start seeing more coaches. But to me, that can't even happen until we find out if you're going to unionize and have a model, a level playing field in terms of the structure. That means you have to fully admit that the athletes are employees, which is something they still have not done. Name, image, and likeness, yes, but not employees. There's something that should be decided, I think, in the next 3 months before the season from USC, and that is there's USC athletes that have a decision in front of a national labor board or whatever, which would classify them as employees. Depending on what that decision is, that can shift this entire conversation.
Nick, as the second foremost college football expert, we've established myself as the foremost college expert on this show.
I heard yesterday wasn't good for you.
That's hard to say. I thought it went better.
It's really not that hard to say, quite honestly.
Did it go worse?
The wide receiver played for USC last year. They got drafted.
Last year?
Yeah.
Like as in this most recent draft?
Stop stalling. Answer the question.
Was it Jordan Addison?
There you go. Just checking.
Oh, man, I had to really think about it.
Where does last year play the year before? You know the answer to that.
He played at Pitt.
You do.
Wow.
And just to round this out, where does Jaden Daniels play?
Hold on. I think I learned this one yesterday finally. I think I'm not getting it. LSU?
Hey, we've made it, finally. We finally made it.
It's LSU?
We finally made it.
Progress.
It's taken 2 weeks.
Feels good.
You got it down now.
Anyways, the system work. That was what I was asking you. Can they unionize all of college football?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It doesn't make sense. It's to college football as a whole. Like we say college football, but there is really no college football. You know what I mean? Like the NBA is an organization the NFL is an organization. College football is not an organization. Every conference is out for themselves. Every school, when given the opportunity to jump to a better conference, is out for themselves. There is no way collectively you can get these, 60-some-odd Power 5 schools to work together collectively because they're always going to be looking out for themselves.
Yeah, that's why I don't even know if, I get what Nick Saban is saying, but I don't even know if him saying unionized college football is actually what he means. Does that make sense? Right? That's the word he used. But to your point, Nick, every conference is its own entity. What you need to do is just, to me, on NIL, eventually they're going to have to be some real decisions made about what limitations and regulations can come within name, image, and likeness, right? And this gets back into the NCAA and the lack of power that they now have, and what they're trying to still hang on for dear life when it comes to college football in particular and their role and involvement in that. I don't think the actual conferences will all become one uniform thing, but I think when he's saying unionize, it's about NIL regulation essentially, right? And putting caps on that, which then gets into the weeds of, well, then are they employees or not? And that's why it'll be really interesting to see what happens with some of these USC athletes that have a pending decision, which could potentially classify them as employees.
Which is exactly how they won the NIL battle in the first place. They got one group to get it approved, one state to approve it, and then all the dominoes fell. The NCAA is just not going to exist after a while. And look, the NFL doesn't cap it either. Andy Reid can make $100 million a year. But the thing is, so can Patrick Mahomes. It's just there's still a cap for the pure number of everyone you pay. So it artificially puts the number down somewhere. But the difference is, doesn't matter. Andy Reid's probably making, what, $12, $13 million a year? Ballpark? Okay, well, that's most than a good chunk of the players on the roster, but not the best players on the roster. They're still making more than that. It's fine. Saban in this scenario would still be the highest paid person with no cap to his salary in any conceivable way, and he would like to find a way to regulate it. So if we're all bidding $200,000 on one player, well, if they're choosing between $200,000 from everybody, guess who they're going to choose to go to? Alabama.
Yeah, well, let me be clear, by the way. I'm not – there would have to be some details ironed out, but I'm not against some sort of cap on the NIL pool, if you will, for school. Because otherwise, it is true. We are in a true just, hey, pay for play. It's basically what's already been going on. It's just now we view it in a much more favorable light. So I'm not against – I don't know what the dollar amount would be. I have no clue. Someone a lot smarter than us would have to figure out what's a fair dollar amount on that. But I think –
I'm in favor of capping someone's earnings. If somebody will pay you $2 million for NIL, you should get it.
The idea of having some sort of cap and limitation, yeah, because it does. I do agree with the disparity that is only going to further in college sports, in particular college football. Because right now we can make our jokes about the lower level Power 5 schools all we want, but if there really is not a cap, then it's only going to increase. Right now we think it's crazy, and this school will pay way more. That is something that is only going to increase. So I don't know what the actual solution is, but I'm not totally against the idea of something like that. Again, it's not necessarily unionizing college football. It's creating limitations within NIL.
Just don't like that any idea Nick Saban is suggesting, just assume it's the worst one for the players.
Gotta write something down. Nick's notable notes.
A lot of talk about Knicks today.
So perfect time for Nick's notable notes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My thoughts exactly, guys. You know, a year ago on this date, we were having an interesting conversation. You guys earlier you guys remember when we were having a conversation about Orlando Brown Jr. and the Bengals feeling like they have a leg up? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, a year ago today, we started the show with a proclamation from one Cody B. Tapp, in which he said,
this can't be good.
I don't think the Chiefs are re-signing Orlando Brown Jr.
Oh,
Nailed it. Nailed it, buddy. Usually,
I was a little worried about it.
Usually when we have these trips in the time machine, they are for flagrantly incorrect predictions, but gotta give you credit, man.
Right,
Gotta give you credit.
What can I say?
You nailed that one. Also, just a quick recap of last year on this date. We said that the Royals and their plan for Vinny Pasquantino doesn't make any sense.
Also right?
Well, I don't know what the context is on that.
No, he wasn't called up yet. Our context at that time was he should just be in the big leagues playing every day.
Yeah, well, I guess you were right on that one, and let's see if you go 3 for 3.
I'll give you the Orlando Brown Jr. one. I'm not willing to give you.
What do you mean? The plan of keeping him in AAA is dumb. They should have been playing it. That's why we did a whole song.
Yeah, but I guess
you did a song.
Yeah, you did a song.
I'm trying to lump us in together.
Yeah, I mean, at that point in time, we were ready for him to get called up. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, just because somebody has success in their big league career doesn't mean that they should have been called up right out of high school or college.
Well, I didn't say that. I just
Trust the process, Cody.
Well, that exact moment, the process should have been putting him in the big leagues.
I believe in the butterfly effect.
If Mazzucato turns out to be great, it doesn't mean that he should be up with the big league club right this second.
No, but I mean, we were like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
You're describing a player's 2 years away.
And then
I'm trying to give you a win.
Yeah.
I'm going to get 1.5 there at least.
And then finally, the last take from last year was that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the biggest swing player on the Chiefs' offense.
Well, he swung. He swung
and missed.
Unfortunately, he swung in a different direction than maybe what you were hoping for, but then it allowed Isaiah Pacheco to emerge, so it all worked out.
All right,
and
guys.
he's still on the team this year.
Turns out Pacheco might have also been one of the biggest swing players
Let's
on the
run that
offense
back.
last year.
Once again, he is the biggest swing player on the offense for the Chiefs. All right, guys, I want to get to the meat and potatoes of Nick's notable notes today. All this conversation about unionization, contracts being handed out, team-friendly deals, it's got me thinking. And you know what happens when I get to thinking, guys. ESPN recently did a piece talking about kind of what we were discussing, at least in part, at the beginning of today's show. It's titled The Tricky Business of Building Winning Rosters Around Franchise Quarterbacks, and it's talking about Tom Telesco, who cut his teeth coming up through the Colts organization under Bill Polian with, the heyday of Peyton Manning. Do you guys think the era of being able to have your cake and eat it as an NFL franchise is mostly behind us? When you look at the deals that have already been handed out this offseason with Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, I don't think we would characterize either one of those deals as, quote, team-friendly deals, right? Those aren't deals that you look at that are structured in a unique way, much like Mahomes, where you would say this is going to give them the flexibility to continue to bring in high-level talent. And knowing that this market is going to explode with the Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow deals, I wonder if we're ever going to see deals like Tom Brady routinely took. Like, even with Patrick Mahomes, that's about as close as you're ever going to get to a team. Like, his cap hit's still, ungodly high this year, right? But yeah, they have some flexibility with that number, pushing it down the road. But eventually, you're going to have to pay this guy loads and loads and loads of money. Are we ever going to see players outright take discounts for the ability to teams to go out and sign high-level free agents or re-sign high-level players?
I think that there's still like a health of the league standpoint where the way Mahomes answered it like a week ago was the answer, which is I will make everything plausible so we can sign those players, but he also admitted his duty to the NFL, of the other NFL players and the NFLPA, which is, look, I can't take so much less money that I'm screwing this whole thing up. The only time you'll ever see it is if a player is just old enough and chasing something historic. Like if Patrick Mahomes were 40 and he had 6 rings, I think there's a chance he'd be like, I'll take $5 million. I don't care. I don't care about the money.
For a point of context,
but even still, it wouldn't be $5 million.
When Tom Brady left the Patriots, he signed a 2-year deal with the Bucs worth $25 million annually, which, as we know, is far below what the market would have dictated. He could have gotten much more. And in his career, Brady only brought in $317 million. But you compare that to the deal he reportedly signed with Fox, which was worth $375. Like, this guy probably could have made closer to $400,000, if not north of that, had he not taken pay cuts. And I just wonder.
I think it's always later. It's always when you're like 40 years old and you're really tracing something historic.
Do you guys think having a ring in the bank helps with players being okay to take less money? Like, once you've reached the mountaintop and you see what it takes to
you would say it would be easier to take more money in a weird way, like Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the ring, then we were just discussing with DeAndre Hopkins. He doesn't have a ring, which is why it's a little maybe surprising that it sounds like he's going to outprice himself from some of the true contenders. But on the flip side, look at Odell Beckham Jr. He already has a ring, and we all think he got a ridiculous contract because one team was willing to do it. So,
but it's different for quarterbacks, right? Like when you're Mahomes, you already had the ring. But it's not just that you had the ring. Unlike Joe Flacco, you knew, or at least you thought you knew, you were destined for greatness. Like, you're not just a guy who's going to have a quick little flash.
Mahomes went because I think he understands and can see that he's got a chance already, and now with 2 rings already in his career, he's got a chance to be the greatest or the second greatest player in NFL history. So a lot of players, like, you can think that you're great, but realistically, I think there's some acknowledgement. Like, if you're Joe Burrow and 3 more years go by and he doesn't have a ring, he's going to go down as a very good player, maybe even be a Hall of Famer. But you're not going to have a chance to go to – if Joe Burrow doesn't get a ring in the next year or two, that part is never, ever, ever happening.
You're talking about him being able to chase –
I'm talking about Mahomes. I think was able, after winning a ring as early as he did in his career. Like, I think he was able to recognize the potential path that he has to go down as next to Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time.
So I guess,
and so Joe Burrow, to me, not that he doesn't think he's great. Of course he does, and he is great. But if he doesn't win a ring in the next year or two, I don't think Joe Burrow can even convince himself that he ever has a chance to go down as the second.
So back to my question, you're saying having a ring may make it easier because it at least convinces yourself, I'm chasing something bigger.
Yeah.
I'm chasing history here, which means I'm going to sacrifice something.
I mean, Mahomes is, how many times do we hear him talk about legacy? And I think players can talk legacy all the time.
Legacy means something different when you're chasing ghosts.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it definitely plays a role in what some of these guys are willing to do.
I think a lot of it, it all comes down to, like, your ring situation at the time that you were in it. Because if Joe Burrow gets one at 32, I don't think the next time he gets a contract, he's taking the discount. He would have given this Cincinnati their only championship ever. He can ask for whatever the hell he wants.
913-586-7610. Someone says from the 913, Tom Brady was able to take less money. His wife made $40 million a year. Of course, Giselle made more money than Tom Brady.
Look, I got to be honest. I feel like, just a hunch, that $300 million would have been enough for both of them, even if she made no money. You know?
What's the dollar amount where you think?
Tom? No, they have lifestyles. They have lifestyles they're looking to keep up.
It's $300 million. There's not a lifestyle you can't live. You're Tom Brady and have $300 million. You can live whatever lifestyle you want.
It is weird.
You can live like the Roys. It doesn't matter.
It is weird because when we talk about these contracts with any player, we're like, oh, he's getting $10 million more than whatever player. And we act like that's not even that much. Like, oh, when the deal's $300 million, what's $10 million? Like, oh, it's $10 million. It's still $10 million. Still $10 million for us. I think it seems like an even wider gap.
Yeah.
But when you're already worth $300 or $400 million, the $5 million does that change much?
$5 million matters probably more to the player who's made $12 million in his career than the guy who's made $330 million.
Has to, even if your life has to.
It has, endorsement deals worth hundreds or tens of millions.
Because the thing about it is, it's like, well, what is an extra $100 million? Well, when you have $300 million, you're not buying the same sorts of things that you and I are buying. So the things that you buy, you may think to yourself, that's an extra home in Malibu. That's a private jet, which I can't afford without the extra $100 million.
Yeah. I mean, that $5 million, you're like, I guess we could get some new sofas in our mansion.
That's pocket
just
change,
sofa
man.
money. It's like we want to redo the furniture in the 3 front rooms money. It's no longer life altering.
We want to buy a family of zebras.
His daily life isn't changing because of $10 million versus $15 million.
The yacht needs a new cabana set. It doesn't matter, dude. That amount of money, it's just so comically more than anything I could imagine.
All right, coming up next, we'll get to the 11 o'clock hour. Something we thought was going to happen on the Royal Stadium front did. So now what's the next move? We'll explain that next.
Cody and Gold.
The Disgusting Brothers.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
A juicy steak sizzling on the fire. Firecracker corn hot off the grill. Nothing brings people together like backyard barbecue. It's time for Hy-Vee's Great American Grilling Sale. Seasoned chicken leg quarters, 99 cents a pound. Ball tip steaks, 2 for $10. Specialty brats, just 10 for $10. And juicy 8-ounce strip steaks, only $6.99 each. Save a bundle on a quarter or whole side of beef. Round up big savings at the Great American Grilling Sale this Friday through Sunday at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Clang. 'Tis the season. You should be out there throwing anything you can down on that flat top grill or smoker, and my friends at Hy-Vee can help out. With huge savings on boneless pork loin, American cut, and butterfly pork chops, the 8-ounces, 8-ounce choice reserve strip steaks, and more this Friday through Sunday at the Great American Grilling Sale. And don't forget to pick up those sides at Hy-Vee, including firecracker corn, coleslaw, cheesy potatoes, home-style beans. Good grief. Friday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
NFM shops the competition so we can guarantee you the lowest prices. A mattress store sells a queen adjustable base for $9.49. NFM has a similar adjustable base for just $7.69. A department store sells a Beauty Rest Select King mattress for $9.65. NFM sells it for $7.79. Plus long-term financing on qualifying purchases. Big selection, big savings. NFM. Store closed early Sunday. Comparison sources shopped on May 15. Minimum monthly payments required. 18% APR. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
I've been buying wholesale cars for 27 years, and every year, the way I know the market has peaked is my Bradford pear tree blooms. This morning I looked, and it is bloomed. The market is peaking. If you want to sell your car, this is the highest time of the year to do it right now. Just beat a guy today. A CarMax offered $3,000. They offered him $75 on his Corvette. I gave him $78. Why? Because the tree told me to. Give me thevin.com.
Sell us your car. Give me thevin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Attention BetMGM customers. Have a friend who loves sports as much as you do? Well, here's a chance for both of you to earn a $50 bonus when they sign up through BetMGM's Refer a Friend program. Just sign into your BetMGM account and click on Refer a Friend program to send your friend a message, inviting them to register a new account in the same state you use BetMGM in. Once your friend signs up and makes a deposit, you'll both receive a $50 bonus. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager, Kansas only. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire in 30 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. BetMGM Sports is in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Kansas City knows how to have a good time. With a little food, something to drink, and exciting action from your Kansas City Royals.
Blood, sweat, no tears.
When you catch a game at the K, you get all three. So bring out the family, bring out the friends, and bring out the blue. Watch the Royals battle it out.
The Royals are on the board with a rocket.
When the bombs are bursting in the air and the fountains are flowing. Welcome to the city.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Talking with Lorenzo Kane here on 610 Sports Radio.
Honestly, that trade to Kansas City was the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, here we go, 11 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 15 minutes or so. Also, we'll talk some Royals baseball with Josh Vernier, our Royals insider at 12:30, more on the field type of stuff. But you and I had discussed this for the last month or so, that it was trending more and more like the downtown stadium ballot initiative was not going to make the August ballot. You were just like, simply, we hadn't heard enough information.
We knew the deadline was the end of May. Today is the last day of May.
That is now not a possibility for it to be on the ballot in August. The deadline was yesterday, I believe. And so in order for it to be on a ballot in Jackson County in August, it needed to be taken care of and filed yesterday. So, of course, that did not happen. Now you're looking at earliest is November. But I go back to John Sherman's comments right before opening day, where he acknowledged that, you know, they're still, if they want to have the stadium open when they want to, which is, 27, 28, that they really could wait until even April. Like the window is August to April, basically. August to April to get on a ballot. So August isn't happening. So now we're looking at a November to April window. That's what's changed now. November to April, and that applies for Jackson County, or if you believe in the Clay County.
Well, the only reason you're mentioning November is Clay County, because if you're talking about Jackson County, the only option is, of course, as you mentioned, April. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, I have to still safely assume.
I'm not sure on that, though. Actually, I'm not.
You think they'd still get on a special ballot?
I'm not sure that the extension of the 3/8 sales tax in Jackson County can't also be in November.
Okay.
So I think there's a chance.
Is it possible that it could still be during that time?
But if you're asking me to guess, I don't think either county or whatever planet, I don't think any of it's getting voted on until April. Do you?
No. They don't have enough ducks in a row. I thought for the longest time this was a little bit about strong-arming the percentage of sales tax that they wanted to go towards the new stadium or to separate themselves. I thought that they were maybe asking for more than Jackson County wanted to give. And look, those tweets from the mayor and all these conversations would certainly indicate there's at least some truth to that thought process across the board. But do I think they'll still get it on a ballot by April? Yes. I think April is the absolute latest. You will hear the Royals plan.
Well, if it's not, then the stadium, all of a sudden, the timeline changes to like 28 or 29, I think.
I think part of the problem is they're being a bit, and I don't know if they're doing this intentionally because they have to for business reasons, or it just feels that way because I'm not inside the door having these conversations. But based on the way Jackson County talks, the way Clay County talks, the way these sites talk, it sounds like they're not willing to give more details on exactly what it is they're asking for. And that makes these conversations very hard. Just tell us, how about a number? What I'm surprised we haven't heard publicly yet is this is the number they are asking for. They are asking for $200 million, $400 million, $800 million, $7 billion. They're obviously not asking for that. Whatever they're asking for, we haven't heard the number. What is it? You just keep saying public-private partnership, public-private partnership. What does that number look like?
I think
you must know. Even if you don't have a site, you must know what you're asking for.
My guess is it's because they don't like what potentially is out there at this time through Jackson County, and they're using Clay County as leverage. And doesn't mean that Clay County can't ultimately end up actually getting the stadium, but I think that's what's still going on because they're not telling you a number, Cody, because don't think they know for sure what the actual number is. They don't want to say this is the number we're asking for.
Because it might be different in Clay and Jackson.
It could. It could absolutely be the case. I don't think. Yes, of course they have numbers in mind, but I don't think it's just a coincidence that it's not going to make the August ballot just because we don't have enough information. I don't think they have everything in order for it to have made the August ballot ultimately.
I thought for the longest time that they had all the information and they were just holding it hostage. Like, that's just kind of how it felt for a while. I don't feel that way now.
Well, I mean, they just have to, in order for it to be on the ballot, the location has to be cemented. The actual dollar amount that you're referencing has to be known.
Yeah.
All of that has to be
way more details.
All of that in order to put it on the ballot, everybody has to be aware of exactly what they're voting on. It can't even make it on the ballot. So that's where. But I think in terms of the negotiations happening with Jackson County and Clay County, and if they're claiming they don't have enough information for the Royals yet, it's because I think the Royals are trying to figure out still the best avenue to proceed forward.
And I'm not saying it's not complicated.
What they're going to get, what their ask is for each county, or in this case, each city too.
I mean, the way you're talking means we have to take Clay County serious. Like, we can't say that it's no shot they don't end up in North Kansas
we gave the example of Sporting Kansas City and the Legends. We've given that example at the time. Wyandotte County seemed like, there's no way they were going to get it. And sure enough, they didn't go to Bannister. They went out to KCK. Now, this is a little different. We're not talking about cross-state. This is, again, an intra-state type of negotiations that are happening between counties in North KC versus KC-Mo and Clay versus Jackson. But that is why you can't say it's an absolute no. You know where my preference is. Doesn't mean I think it's impossible. I think it's still unlikely that Clay County is the ultimate destination, but it's definitely not 5%. It's probably 10 to 20% chance.
Yeah, and that's it. But that's a lot bigger chance, I would have thought, than when these conversations first started. And we were like, it's downtown, it's going to be downtown. As a matter of fact, it's going to be in the East Village of downtown, where I still think there's, 80, 85% chance that that's where it inevitably ends up. But I get this notion of, like, we don't want to negotiate. But John Sherman's also made it very clear that a public-private partnership is what he seeks. And if all of a sudden Clay County is willing, like if we're just talking about like Tom Brady and the amount of money we're talking about, but if there's a county goal that would give you let's say an extra $100 million for your project, and that it would completely change the face of North Kansas City.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would dynamically change that entire area of the city.
Oh, I mean, I get why North KC and Clay County are excited and being aggressive with this. They should. They should. And again, it plays well.
It's why the Legends was. Because think about what the Legends was before Sporting KC showed up. Right? I mean, there's been a ton of development out that way in that amount of time. But I mean, it's still it's just, I have a hard time imagining this doesn't end with like an April ballot measure for a stadium downtown. Like, I just have a hard time imagining that that's not still where this ends. But I wasn't surprised to find out they missed that August one, because I think once we realized things got a little bit heated, they were never hitting that deadline. That one wasn't coming around. Or at least it didn't feel that way at the time.
We'll get to the trash of the day coming up in about 5 minutes or so. More talk around expansion in college football, and welcome
Usually
to the club
means
again, maybe for a former Big 12 school. That'd be Colorado. I
thought for sure you were going to say Missouri.
No, well, they're making plenty of money in the SEC. We think we all understand why. They are, of course, very happy.
They're never leaving.
But Colorado, according to Dennis Dodd, has held substantial talks with the Big 12 as the Buffaloes considered leaving the Pac-12. We know the Pac-12's future is in much doubt at this point in time. We know Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, has been very aggressive, already adding new schools that are going to be in starting this year, and then having conversations. Even over the weekend, there was a report that he was talking to Gonzaga about their basketball program as well. This isn't new rumor interest, though, necessarily, right? I mean, we've heard for a while the 2 Arizona schools, maybe Utah, maybe a Colorado. And there's some people in the Big 12, like KU, K-State fans, Iowa State fans, Oklahoma State for that matter as well, where they're like, hey, I don't want Colorado back in the mix. Why not? If you want to have...
You want to be a stable conference, or do you not want to be a stable conference?
You want to be the third conference in the mix after the SEC and the Big Ten and beat out the ACC?
Colorado's been one of the worst football programs. And I'm not here to tell you that they got good basketball either. So the part of the issue is you are taking on a not currently very good football product, although at its peak of interest. But man, how long is Deion Sanders going to be there?
Well, that part is always funny because letting him decide, it doesn't seem very
that
smart.
part of the story, you're like, please don't let Deion Sanders decide whether or not your team's going to be in a different conference or not. That's ludicrous. He might be there 3 years.
Yeah, Dennis Dodd hinted at basically they would need Deion to sign off on it in order to actually go from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. And yeah, I mean, Deion's probably, for good or bad, he's probably not there 5 years from now, one way or the other. There's one way or the other. And I think they will likely be smart enough to recognize that as well, that this is more about their long-term future. The part that's intriguing, Dennis Dodd mentions that Colorado, and maybe why they would actually be willing to leave too, they would receive an equal media rights share, $31 million, beginning in 2025 to join the Big 12. So that is something that is not the case necessarily usually when you expand, right? We remember when TCU came over, they in West Virginia, they got, I don't know if it was a half share.
We just had these conversations with Cincinnati.
Houston and all.
And Houston,
yeah. But the contract with ESPN and Fox, it's believed to guarantee an equal share for any expansion team as long as they are currently Power 5. That's the difference. Of course, Houston and UCF, not Power 5.
If you had
5
Arizona, schools. Arizona State, or Colorado, my whole pitch is, here's the truth. I don't really particularly care which teams from the Pac-12 or the ACC they can steal. They should steal any of them. Any of them that will come. You've got to, especially in the Pac-12, you got to take the damn legs out.
So
you got to start taking teams away from it and bury that conference once and for all. And Colorado, and I get it, like there's probably a lot of sour grapes but do you blame them? Like look at how this is going now and look at the position the Big 12's in now. Do you really blame, like looking back at it, do you really blame those schools? Do you think Nebraska, look, they're not the same program as they were, but they're in the Big 10. They are in the second most stable football conference in the entire country. Missouri, who left. Look, Colorado made a mistake in the one that they went to, and some of their brands were hurt by these moves, but they had to and did choose to make a financial decision at the time. Like, if you're a Pac-12 school right now, you should be looking at it the same way and just go. We shouldn't care that Colorado left once, 1,000,000 years ago.
I love bringing back the idea also of just the tradition from even the Big 8 days, Big 7 for that matter as well with Colorado. I think your point is just, hey, add all of them from these Power 5 schools. I get what you're saying. I still think the Arizona markets are intriguing. Phoenix, massive market. Colorado, you get a little bit of the Denver market, not as much as you would think. Just it's not a great college. They don't talk Colorado Buffs football other than when Deion's there. It's not a huge thing in the Denver market when you have the Nuggets and the Avalanche and the Denver Broncos, obviously.
And the Rockies. You got 4 pro sports teams.
I mean, it's awfully tough. So you're not, yes, it's the Denver market. Are you getting actually the TV viewership out of Denver? I don't know.
You probably don't get quite the pull you do as Kansas, but there's still got to be some alum.
But the Arizona schools are the Arizona schools are the two prizes at this point. You're not, because we already know about USC and UCLA. Oregon's probably a Big Ten.
Look, if you can convince Oregon, cool. Because again, none of us care about the travel anymore, right? Everyone's done that out the window.
For a while, yeah.
That's been long gone. I mean, USC's going to take on Rutgers at like 11 a.m. on a Saturday in the next couple of years. I don't think we care about, like, travel. It just can't matter. It can't be a part of the conversation anymore, and it's never going to be a part of the conversation ever again. That's just the reality of it. But I don't know. This notion of Colorado, would you accept Missouri back? Would you accept Nebraska back? Like, if all of a sudden
those two are just not happening. I mean,
I know, but if they came knocking and they said, we want to be a part of the new form Big 12 and we're going to make this a powerhouse and whatever.
Those were fun days, man.
Yeah, take it all back. Matter of fact, a Cody and Gold garage sale item this year, a Hardee's Big 8 basketball.
Hardee's.
So, I actually have 2 of them at the in-laws house. Do both need to be in there? Maybe just one this year?
Just one. Keep one for yourself, man. Keep one for yourself.
What the hell am I going to do with a Big 8 basketball from Hardee's?
How long have you kept it?
Well, it's my in-laws have been keeping it. I've just asked if I can. They don't even have a basketball hoop. So they just have 2 deflated Big 8 basketballs. I don't know. They've been keeping them since
this is Big 8.
The Big 8. We could probably do some math on this. They've been keeping them at least that long.
Yeah, I'd keep one. Old Big 8 conference, I'd keep one, especially with who knows where realignment's going to go in the future.
What's a good price tag for that?
I have no idea.
It's a good price tag we can ask for a Big 8 basketball. A Hardee's Big 8 basketball giveaway from the 90s. Feels like a prized item, if you ask me.
When's the last time you've been to Hardee's?
Years.
Yeah, I mean,
at a random
face
rest stop, probably that happened to have one in it. Like, maybe
But Hardee's is better than Burger King.
I haven't been there in a long time
I've been to
either.
Burger King far more recently. We've talked about that. But the Hardee's is on the road trip. It's the Turnpike. You're heading west to Nick. You're driving west out to Colorado, and it's at the Turnpike, one of the rest
Can you
stops.
name any other menu item they have besides the thick burger?
I mean, just other burgers. I mean, it's a burger joint. I don't need to name them. Probably have a bacon cheeseburger. They probably have a patty melt.
I think they have chicken fingers, maybe.
I'm sure they do. It's a fast food burger joint.
Not chicken fingers. Some have chicken nuggets. Chicken fingers is different. Chicken tenders, different bowl game.
Remember when Hardee's whole marketing campaign was, let's just put busty women
with
in
barbecue sauce
in
dripping
bikinis
down their face? That's exactly what it was.
It was a strategy.
Did they have Dana?
Kate Upton.
No, Kate Upton, but Danica Patrick. Didn't she do that too, or was that GoDaddy? She did both, I thought.
I'm here to confirm that the current Hardee's menu includes a Frisco, a Frisco sandwich, Nick, that's close enough, and they're going hand-breaded chicken tender.
Tenders, what they're going for. Different, those are different,
tender,
man. Those
tender.
are different. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
I would have been fine just continuing to talk about fast food items. If we wanted to, we can maybe do that later. Thinking of food, though, we've all gone over to a friend's house, maybe you're on a regular basis, right? And you have a dinner. Someone's nice enough to invite you over and cook. Cody, you've done that for us as well.
I have.
You poisoned Nick with Chipino.
I did not poison. It was a flu.
You guys have done
related
that
bug
before. This story comes from the Today Show. I'll just read you the headline first, and I can get into more of the details. It says, my friend invited me for dinner, then charged me for groceries. Is that okay?
How much was dinner? How much was dinner? Were you cooking lobster tails and fillets?
Not okay, because if I know...
Doesn't matter. If you invited someone over, you pay for their dinner.
If Cody invited us over for dinner tomorrow night, my first response would be, hey, do you need us to bring anything? I'll start there. And you might say, no, we got it. I'm like, you sure?
The second I say you got it, no more.
You sure? I don't then expect, and it's mentioned in the article, after the dinner, for them to send us a thank you bill for $25. No, that would be ridiculous.
What if it's like a weekly dinner? What if what if you're coming over every week? That's different?
Absolutely, that's different.
I still think you'd have to establish that you're expecting some sort of monetary compensation for this.
Well, I think at that point, if you're going over to somebody else's house every single week, it's on you to not be stingy.
Yeah, I mean, if we knew that every Tuesday Cody was cooking dinner for the show, eventually we would say, hey, man, you want some money or you want us to bring stuff over? We're not going to just let Cody
Or you would
cook
just
for
do
us
it.
every
You would just
Tuesday.
bring a bottle of wine or a case of beer, whatever.
But that's not what this is talking about. This is saying that they went over for a dinner, and it was a nice dinner, but they were not told at all they needed to bring anything or whatever, and at the end, they were sent a tab. $25.
Excuse me? Do you know how much you have to spend to have a $25 home-cooked dinner?
I do. Yeah, you'd have to be producing a lot of food.
Back in 2022, there was another incident where some Twitter user, she asked what others thought about her being charged for eating pasta at someone's home. I mean, charging someone to go eat pasta at your house?
Okay, that's a cheap-ass meal.
I just think you can't charge someone to feed them their home. If I invite everyone from the station to my house to feed them, it's on me. I have invited you here. I am now in charge of feeding you.
If it's a one-off, I agree. But if it's like, hey, we're coming over every single week, then at that point, that's when you start kicking in.
I feel like no matter what, it's just... Like, at that point, you just establish bringing something that has some monetary value, and we're good here. Like, if you are bringing the salad or a side and drinks or those things, we're having a very different conversation. Like, I was at a friend's, or the easiest way to do this is to just go to both people's places. Like, we've got friends who live not far from us. Sometimes we'll go over there and they'll cook us dinner and they'll come over to our house and we'll cook them dinner. Nobody's Venmoing each other. That's an insane thing to do.
So look, B-Dub, right? B-Dub, obviously producer of the Festival in the Morning. He's got a pool and a grill. We've been joking with him, but I think it might actually happen that he needs to have everybody over. Like, when's the cookout going to happen? I think he might actually do it. We know he loves to grill and barbecue. If he's inviting the entire station, I'm right away going to say, hey man, what do you need us to bring? And then after that, if he's like, no man, I got it. We're good. This is on. Then I'm not expecting a bill after. Now, ahead of time, I'm planning on shipping in for the barbecue that's going to have 15 people. So it's different. It's all about what was the conversation before the event happened.
And honestly, what you should do as a guest, don't even ask. Bring something. Don't ask if you need to bring something, because usually people are too polite to tell you. bring a case of beer, and then whatever you don't drink, you leave it in the fridge. There you go.
So you ask if you need a food item brought, but then you're like, hey, I'm still bringing a 12-pack or a 6-pack of beer, and then it's just there.
I'm not taking it home with me.
Yeah.
It's here forever. What is
your,
by the way,
a $25 Venmo bill?
What is the thing you offer to bring the most? Because I'm guessing
wine. Bottle of wine's the easiest thing.
I was guessing Gold was like, I'll bring the rolls or
no,
chips.
because I don't even like rolls.
I don't have
I
to
don't even like rolls. I'm not bringing an item I don't like.
You don't like rolls?
On a regular basis.
What
not
is
my favorite.
wrong with you? There's so many rolls? That's the most inoffensive food ever.
No, like not the item. That's not the item I would bring. I like rolls. I told you, Texas Roadhouse, the rolls and the cinnamon butter, incredible. But I'm not like, oh man, I can't wait to bring the rolls to the party. No, usually probably chips.
Chips is safe.
I always
I
get
brought
criticized.
macaroni and cheese the last time I went somewhere.
Everybody makes fun of this, but then everybody ends up using it because they're waiting for the meal to be ready. I'm absolutely team bring the vegetable tray. Absolutely no problem with that.
Vegetable tray.
Yes, because
you cut it yourself, or you just go and buy the pre-bought one.
Stop wasting our time with
They're
dumb
so
questions.
expensive.
But no,
fruit and vegetable trays are insane to buy at the grocery store. They're so expensive.
On the forefront of it, like or at the up front, people will be like, "What do you the vegetable tray?" Ha ha ha! And then guess what? While we're waiting for everything to get done, guess everybody's over there snacking on the vegetable tray.
Hey, that's how I feel about pigs in a blanket.
Are people objecting to pigs in a blanket?
No, but I mean, people are like, come on, that's it. Like pigs in a blanket. What are we, kids? But guess what? Those things will be destroyed in about 20 minutes.
That's a great appetizer, especially for like
Smokies,
outside.
Little Smokies.
Yeah,
those are
no one's
fantastic.
complaining about
That's
that.
the trash of the day. All right, coming up next, we get back to some Chiefs football and this notion of team-friendly deals, and it looks like one's not going to happen for DeAndre Hopkins.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Waving in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
Hey guys, it's Nick. Summer is almost here, which means pool and beach season is right around the corner. If you wait for June or July to get here to try and start getting into better shape, you're not going to see the results you hope for this year. So why wait? If you don't know where to start, give 213 Flashpoint a try. It's not going to shred your love handles overnight, but it will give you a nice nudge in the right direction. 213 Flashpoint is a powdered supplement. I drink it every morning to start my day, and it gives me long-lasting energy without the crash. It also helps curb my appetite so I can ignore my sweet tooth and make it to my next meal. This isn't my first time trying to get into better shape, but it's the first time I knew it was going to happen. And that's all thanks to the guys at Supplement Superstore. They introduced me to 213 Flashpoint, and they came up with a simple plan that fits into my daily routine. The best part is, it's all free of charge. When you work with the guys at Supplement Superstore, you're not in it alone, and sometimes a little help is all it takes to finally stick to your fitness goals. If you want to make this summer different, try 213 Flashpoint. Check it out at any of the 8 Supplement Superstores locations in the KC metro area.
Growing up, nothing was more fun than playing outside, climbing trees and getting dirty. Hi, this is Larry Ryan with Ryan Lawn and Tree. Well, we grew up, but now we love working outside, creating beautiful lawns, caring for trees and shrubs, fixing irrigation systems, and providing our customers with industry-best pest services. Our Ryan pros are passionate about creating spaces your family, friends, and even pets can enjoy. Our Ryan pros in those clean red trucks are highly trained, full-time employee owners. And as an owner, they're personally committed to providing you with unmatched results and award-winning 5-star customer service. And we're local, so no 1-800 number here. Visit RyanLawn.com today for a free estimate. Hey, and if you want an outdoor career with us as an employee owner, visit RyanLawn.com. I personally guarantee you'll be glad you did.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
The final round of the NBA playoffs are here, and you can get in on the action right from the first tip with FanDuel. Every single customer can get a no-sweat same-game parlay for Game 1 when you bet the NBA. That's right. If you place a 3+ leg same-game parlay, you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. So you can take Nikola Jokic to have a triple-double. You can take the over on Jimmy Butler. I really like Jamal Murray. I think the Heat are going to have a tough time matching up against him. There's no better place to bet all of the NBA playoffs than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/CDOT and get that no-sweat same-game parlay for this Thursday of the NBA playoffs. That's FanDuel.com/CDOT. There's no better place to bet all of the NBA playoffs than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. Bonus issued a non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports betting in Kansas on agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Get help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KansasGamblingHelp.com.
Diamonds Direct takes our most popular offer ever up to the next level. Now, for a limited time, you can make any purchase and take advantage of special financing for up to 5 years, or get $5,000 off. Get the lowest possible monthly payment, or get a generous cash credit. It's all about giving you more. Design the ring of your dreams with our most flexible finance options and best savings ever offered. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details and more at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
If your pubic region was quote-unquote junk, you wouldn't need America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. But it's not. So show some respect with Gillette Intimate. For a gentle and easy shave, Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
A mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 85.
Weather brought to you by Total Wine & More. At Total Wine & More, save big on what you love this month with hundreds of deals on amazing wines and spirits. Love what you find at the lowest prices only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. B21.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit GetJim.com.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians you can trust with your house keys.
At Anthony, we get the job done right the first time. That's why these are the technicians Kansas Cityans have trusted for over 70 years. Right now, receive a new AC for as low as $59 a month. From Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour, and we know DeAndre Hopkins' watch just continues. I don't know if it's ending anytime soon necessarily. And we discussed even
I hope
in the
it
last
never
half
ends.
hour.
I hope he's just available in November and we're still talking about him. That's not going to happen.
I know you were joking, but what if we're to set a date that he signs? What do you actually think it is?
The fact he hired an agent pushed my time up significantly. I think in the next 2 weeks.
I'm trying to think because we know camp isn't until July. I think it'll be before camp as well. 2 weeks is pretty strong. Like if I were to set June 15th Would you take the over/under on the day Hopkins signs? I'd probably take the under as well.
I would too. I think 2 weeks is about the timeline of when I think that deal will get done. I think his hiring an agent means he's serious about it, and teams are serious about signing him, but they want to have a conversation with the certified NFL agent. They don't want to go through this, like guessing with DeAndre, or there were some reports about it was the same thing with Lamar. There's a party who kind of talks contracts with people that's not supposed to talk
That's why he
contracts
hired
with
an agent,
people.
because these teams were like, we're not doing this.
Yeah. It's just you can't. It makes it too messy. There's too many rules. They're going to get dinged. They're not looking to get any of those problems,
A lot of the conversation around DeAndre Hopkins, of course, has just been what does he actually want? Even though he was on that podcast and he laid out what he's looking for.
That was just describing the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, and describing maybe even Philadelphia as well, and a few teams, but certainly the Chiefs fit that thing to a T. But we're finding out more and more, based on reporting from Jeremy Fowler and Ian Rappaport, kind of the financial implications that are going to have to be considered. And it gets us talking about whether or not you're wanting to take a friendly deal or not. And I think
that's even a thing that happens
we discuss that so much, and not just football. We discuss this in all sports.
Hometown discount. We talked about it with Alex Gordon. We've talked NBA teams talk about Dame Lillard. Doesn't matter.
We discuss it like it happens all the time, and those are the rare cases. I don't think we can discuss team-friendly deals in sports based on the pure dollar amount. I think how we need to view, especially in the NFL, a team-friendly deal is just the structure of it, the length of it. This goes back, of course, to the Mahomes contract as well. Not that everybody's going to be signed 10-year deals. Of course not. And teams wouldn't want that either. But having flexibility, even if it's something simple. Hey, Chris Jones extension, but hey, we need to have the money separated among year 2 and 4, or 2 and 3, and we need to have this money there and that. Are you flexible with that kind of stuff?
Here's the thing.
That's what matters. And the problem with DeAndre Hopkins, Cody, is if it's a 1-year deal, it leaves you no flexibility.
The type of team-friendly deal that DeAndre Hopkins would sign, in my opinion, is the type of contract the Chiefs have never handed out, and it is identical to the Odell Beckham thing. Because here's the thing. Nobody is over here. We have largely, all Gold said, that Odell Beckham Jr. is grossly overpaid. They way overpaid for him. But also, his team, his deal, is cap-friendly, is team-friendly, because he has to agree to be paid a bunch of money, not right now. The way his contract works is this year he is only a $4 million cap hit, even though he is on a 1-year deal. So there should be no flexibility. He's on a 1-year deal worth almost $18 million with incentives, and yet still somehow his deal this year is only costing him $4 million. That's because there are 4 void years after the deal. To me, if you're going to convince a player to take a team-friendly deal and you're the Chiefs, you are probably going to have to offer this structure, the void year structure. I'm
not interested, man.
I don't hate it. It's weird because it's all prorated bonus for when they actually physically give him the money. And so next year, when he's not even a member of the team, he will be an $11 million cap hit when he's not even a member of the team. But, that's no different than cutting a player with dead money.
But the Ravens,
Frank Clark's a $10 million cap hit for the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, but the Ravens are also just in a different spot. They're desperate. That's the difference here. Teams like the Ravens are desperate. They needed to sign Beckham also to help things move along with the Lamar Jackson contract negotiations. I think the circumstances.
But they're not the only team doing these void years. That's become a little bit more common practice.
No, but it's specifically with an aging wide receiver like Beckham, they, to me, were probably willing to go to a number nobody else was because of the Lamar Jackson situation and just the spot that organization is in the AFC picture. The Chiefs, the Bills, the Bills more so than the Chiefs, of course, but the Chiefs really don't have to do that. We can agree that the wide receiver room would be upgraded with Hopkins. Of course, nobody's stupid. Of course it'd be better. But do they feel like, hey, we're willing to potentially mess some things up in the future financially for him? Is he going to be the difference to win a Super Bowl? And they have shown that it's not a necessity for them. Would I like DeAndre Hopkins on this team? I wanted Odell Beckham on this team. Absolutely. But I'm not willing to have decent cap hits in the future for a guy that's not going to play here. Absolutely not. Thinking of timeline, I asked you that question. This is what Adam Schefter had to say about the timeline on a potential DeAndre Hopkins deal.
I think that the public is a lot more interested in DeAndre Hopkins than NFL teams are interested. And all we have to do is look back at the fact that for months he was available And for a multitude of reasons, nobody traded for him. So either they couldn't placate the Arizona Cardinals or couldn't placate DeAndre Hopkins, or he didn't want to go to a certain place to restructure. But for a multitude of reasons, he's still out there, and he's probably the most high-profile free agent out there, with maybe the exception of Ezekiel Elliott. Those are the two guys that I think are the most interesting names out there right now. And so we went months without DeAndre Hopkins movement, and now we'll wait to see when there is movement. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to move quickly. I think he could be on the market for a little while. And to me, when I look at it, I look at the Chiefs, the Bills, the Patriots, the Browns, all have some advantages and all have some disadvantages, and we'll see how that works out.
So that's Schefter's
By the way,
podcast saying
that's
anytime soon. So, look, what's that to him, right? Is that meaning it's not happening in the next week, or does that mean it's not happening in the next 2 weeks?
What's soon to Adam Schefter?
We have no idea. The teams are the teams. I think we've all highlighted those for a while. It's
Which means it's going to be some completely different team, like it was with Odell Beckham the first time, and the Rams weren't even being mentioned.
I mean, Cleveland
ended up being an Atlanta Falcon or some nonsense.
Cleveland and New England might be willing to give a dollar amount and a structure that the Chiefs and Bills simply aren't willing to do.
But you want to be stuck with them.
But again, they don't.
You want to be
If you're
stuck in their organization.
I mean, if he does, then it shows us more and more that
it's money.
And that's fine, by the way. Hey, you do you. Get your money while you can. Get your money while you can. I'm never going to fault anybody for doing that.
So you're saying you would leave this show for more money and less prestige? You would go work for an internet radio station for twice the amount of pay that you're getting now?
No, it'd have to be more than twice the amount of pay, Cody.
More than twice?
Yeah. So anyway,
wow.
But the dollar amount for Hopkins, if it's 1 year for 9 in Kansas City, it's 1 year for 10.5 in Buffalo, but then all of a sudden New England says, hey, we'll do 2 for 25. Like, well, I know it's New England, but yeah, I'm it depends on what does Hopkins actually believe. Does he think that he could have a great year in Buffalo and Kansas City, and that next offseason there's going to be every team knocking on his door for a 2 or 3 year multi-year deal?
Man. Somehow Odell convinced a team to give him $18 million after waiting a year.
So if he thinks that, then yeah, go sign the 1 year deal in Kansas City or Buffalo, blow up, have a 1,000-yard season, maybe win a ring, play with 2 of the better quarterbacks in football. Go do that and then get the big payday. If you actually think, well,
I still think you get one more payday, don't you?
I do. Or on the flip side, is it going to just end up where he's just got a bunch of 1 year deals the final 4 years of his career?
It's so hard with a player of his caliber to think that it's still going to go down like that. There's got to be one more long-term extension for DeAndre Hopkins somewhere. I get it. I've seen all the reports, right? NFL teams don't think he can separate anymore. Or NFL teams, just look at his production last year when he played. He missed the first 6 games because he was suspended for PEDs. He missed a game or 2 for injury at the end of the season when reportedly he was trying to get himself healthy, whatever, right? But he played, in the 9 games he played, he was on pace to be a 17-game, 1,400-yard receiver. And look, I could put this on all these other guys that the Chiefs believe in, right? Kadarius Toney. And I could say, all right, let's just average out when Kadarius Toney was healthy. And you're like, well, he wasn't in the offense last year, so it's a little bit harder because, you probably won't be able to do that because you know what he'd average out over a 17-game season? He'd be like a 400-yard receiver. So you probably don't want to have fun there. If I took any player, if I had averaged out Sammy Watkins' year and the time he didn't play, or any of those things, none of those guys are coming out to 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns like he was. When he's on the field, he is still an incredibly productive player. I don't care if NFL teams are saying he's a little slow. He can play. Like, the numbers back that up in a very, very strong way. Not to mention, no coach in the NFL, statistically, I'm not even just saying this is not a matter of personal opinion. This is a matter of statistical fact. There is no offense or coach in the NFL who gets more yards of separation in design than Andy Reid. It's proven. So if he's having a hard time separating, good news, Andy will help him separate more than he ever is. And turns out when DeAndre Hopkins isn't separating, he still appears to be a top 10 wide receiver from a production standpoint. So it is hard for me to imagine that there's not a team outside of this a year from now that would be interested. But if Schefter's right, and there's a limited amount of interest now, that's where the Chiefs and the Bills come back into play, Gold.
Let me ask you guys this, because DeAndre, once he got to Arizona, I think he was criticized. I don't know if it was by local guys in Arizona, but he doesn't practice every day.
I don't care.
But also that would mean maybe he's not going to want to do all of the off-season optional training camp type stuff.
Probably won't.
He's a veteran. He's, you could argue, earned that right, but with a new team and with Andy Reid and how he likes to practice guys,
Yeah.
do you think that could be an issue?
I always have a hard time imagining, because everybody knows, like, this is not like a lost, forgotten. Everyone's like, well, that was the hardest training camp I've ever been in, so I'm very tired. Nobody's arguing that anymore, but I have a hard time imagining that if you're really behind a couple of teams, that's going to be the deciding factor in any way, right? There's so many other things it feels like would stop that deal before that.
Also, you think then going to New England and playing with Bill Belichick that he's just going to...
You think that's going to be a happy-go-lucky time? He gets a bounce house for the players every 3 days during training camp, Nick, Bill? He's like, I'm going to loosen it up. Do they sell adult-sized bounce houses? Like really big ones for like NFL-sized players?
That's quite the niche that you're going to try to...
New business?
Yeah, go ahead and go bankrupt quickly. Yeah,
Go bankrupt quickly?
You want to start a bounce house business catered towards NFL players.
Well, just
not
adults.
their kids, but just NFL players.
Full-size adults, that's all.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to turn out very well. I don't think that's going to work out.
You don't think adults would like bouncing around?
I don't think they're going to spend the money.
Oh, you think there's just not enough market?
So
That's probably fair. That's probably fair. If they're going to do that, they're just going to go to one of those trampoline parks where adults can jump around.
Oh, Urban Air or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I don't know. My kid had a birthday party at one. Not her birthday party, but there was a kid's birthday party at one of those trampoline parks. They give you a wristband, you can go jump around. Try not to knock kids down,
Tear your ACL.
It does feel that way sometimes.
Your ACL's just going to explode on you.
It's a bit terrifying. The most fun
one time you're going to land wrong, the knee just says, "Nope, we're not doing this anymore. We're done."
At the one hers was at, they also had the American Gladiator sticks though into the foam pit. That I'm interested in.
That's kind of cool,
right? You would do that immediately. All of us would do that, right? They give you the foam helmet. You got the big Q-tips, right?
That's fun.
Try to knock each other into the foam pit. That's our business. Stars Trampoline Park.
That's the business?
The Cody and Gold Trampoline Park. But it's just American Gladiator.
I still think C&G Pizza had a better shot.
It did. How quickly we found out that they had already found a tenant.
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't us. Seems like guys been pretty successful since then. Opened up like 3 more locations since that time.
So.
Think about what C&G Pizza could have been, We could have 4 locations by now.
No, guys' success shows me that we were not cut out for that business.
We were never going to make it.
We were never going to have the type
How
of success.
does their success make you feel like we have no chance?
Because that's the barometer, and we would have screwed it up.
Guys has good name recognition.
We could be at the airport right now. C&G Pizza at the airport.
They got better name recognition, I must say. I have to admit.
Than Cody and Gold?
The Guys Snack brand has been around for a very, very long time.
This show's been around for 3 years.
Not as long as Guys Snacks.
No. We don't have vintage logos yet.
That is true.
From a talent perspective, let's just say DeAndre Hopkins doesn't sign with this team. Nate Taylor at The Athletic was asked this in his mailbag yesterday over on their site. He got asked this question, and he answered it pretty thoughtfully and thoroughly, which was, is this the best roster Patrick Mahomes has ever played on? And he says it isn't, and let me just make it clear. I don't think it can be
no.
Right before the season starts. But the good news is, I don't think it's impossible that we could be saying that by the time the season ends. If things develop in a proper way and Tony is this player that the Chiefs have talked about, then we are having a very different conversation, because this is the way I laid out the roster yesterday. They are good. They are at league average or well above league average in almost every other position. They're at least league average at running back. They are the best at tight end. They are the best at quarterback. They are top 3 at offensive line. They had the second best sack team in the NFL last year, so they're at least, I think, top 10 on the defensive line as it currently structures. They have one of the best linebacker units. A deep cornerback class, I think, is probably top 15, maybe upwards of top 5, depending on how they perform. And the safeties are strong. So all you are really leaving to chance of best roster perspective, I would say they might be the most balanced roster they've ever had. I just have a hard time, and I know that there was a roster in 2020 that was a Super Bowl winner, and they returned literally everyone. I have a hard time imagining that roster wasn't better.
Yeah, I don't think at the end of this year...
And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were on an offense together.
The Chiefs could go win a Super Bowl this year, and I don't know if you would be able to say it's the best roster that Mahomes has ever had. There's a chance that in 2 years, if some of these young players continue to develop, that we could be saying, wow, that roster then had these players, and that roster looks a lot better in hindsight. But actually what they are, I don't think the roster will be there yet by the time this season ends. I mean, if you're going through looking at the past years, then it's an obvious no right now. I mean, I would even argue 2018, Cody, when they had Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt on offense,
no, that defense though, man.
But offensively,
like roster across the board, yeah, better. That's their best offense. That defense stunk out loud.
There has to be some balance though, too, where when you have a historically great offense in that.
That's why 2020 is their best roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, this year's not. Now, I think compared to last year, this roster as it sits right this second is just as good.
Which means it has a good chance to be better, with a little bit of improvement because of how young the team is.
Yeah, I am a optimist on what Kadarius Toney can do this year more so than others. I do buy into the hype around him. I do think he has a chance to play in some more football games this year. But it would still take a lot for me to be sitting here heading into the postseason saying this is the best roster that Mahomes has had. Even if Kadarius Toney had 950 yards in the regular season, I don't know how we would be sitting here necessarily. It would take massive leaps on defense. It would take Karlaftis being a double-digit sack guy while Chris Jones is still a double-digit sack guy, while Felix gives you 4 sacks, while Trent McDuffie emerges as a number 1 corner. Sneed is still like it would take a pretty special bump from a lot of people immediately. I think
Toney is the biggest
from now. Like 2 years from now, I think we'd be sitting here saying, "Oh, Karlaftis is a consistent 9 or 10 sack guy. McDuffie is viewed as one of the." I think there's a chance that they have guys on this team right this second
that could turn into his best roster.
And we can look back and say, "Man, that roster! Look who they had in 2023." All young, but man, they had all these guys that they weren't fully developed yet. I think that's a possibility, but I don't think we'll be sitting here.
I know, but they're all in year 2. I mean, year 2 or 3.
Yeah, some of them.
Like, I mean, there's if you want to be optimistic about the Chiefs, which by the way, I mean, they just in the Super Bowl, you don't have to be optimistic about anything. But if you want to talk about from a development standpoint, they won the Super Bowl and they did it with a lot of first and second year players.
Yeah.
So presumably a lot of them would be taking a leap. To me, the chance of me saying this is the best roster Patrick Mahomes ever played will most likely hinge the most on if Kadarius Toney's actually a 1. Because if Kadarius Toney's a 950,000-yard wide receiver, I don't think I have to take that big of a leap. They'll still have the league's best tight end. This is the best offensive line Patrick Mahomes ever played with, so we're good there.
Looks like it. We'll find out when they play, but yeah, it sure looks like it.
For me, right now, I think that they will be. Pacheco is at least going to be one of the better backs they've had. Maybe not as good as Kareem Hunt in his rookie year, that level of offense. But even if they're 92% of that level of offense ability, but they are a better, like 2018's defense was garbage. So if they are 90% of that, and they are a top 10 scoring defense in the NFL, it's not going to be that big a stretch.
Well,
Tony's a huge swing in this guy, and probably, as you mentioned, the pass rush. Can it maintain what it was last year?
Because it's whether it's Toney or not. If I just tell you they have a top 5 offense and their defense is anywhere near top 10, then automatically that puts it in the conversation because they haven't under Patrick Mahomes had a 10th best defense and a top 5 offense. That hasn't existed yet. Just on the surface, that answers our question. The answer would be yes at that point. Whether it's Toney with 900 yards or anybody, if they are a top 5 offense and defensively they are somehow right around the top 10, then that becomes one of the best rosters, if not the best. That just by that pure logic.
And it's hard because if you're just saying the best roster with Patrick Mahomes, then he's gotten better. If you're saying the best roster around Patrick Mahomes, we're having a slightly different conversation. Because it's easier to say this is the best roster with Mahomes because then you can be like, I mean, look at all the experience the guy's got. He's got 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl wins. He knows more now than even he did. In that year, he's throwing 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. He's a better quarterback now. The stats don't always bear out their best year or when they're their best version.
Well,
he has a better version of a quarterback now than he was then.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out throughout the next 10 years, and we've also just seen it in history. I mean,
quarterbacks get really good around this age, even better.
But also, I'm just saying they could have a better roster, and they could be. We can look back, and it doesn't mean they're going to win a championship this year. I mean, there's plenty of examples where you're like, man, that team was not the better team from 3 years ago, but they ended up winning a ring this year. We see it happen in all sports. In the playoffs, like you could argue last year, I think we all did heading to the Super Bowl. The Eagles had the better roster.
Going in the
roster.
game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They didn't win the championship, though. So it doesn't guarantee. I mean, the Chiefs could have the best roster in the Mahomes era and come up short.
Sure.
Very easily could. I mean, that's sports for you. So that doesn't guarantee you a damn thing. Just because
it makes you feel better.
Just because they don't win a ring this year doesn't mean that the answer to is it the best roster he's ever had is an automatic no, is all I'm getting at.
Yeah, the best roster doesn't have to be in the year they won the Super Bowl. I just told
hell
you
of a chance, though.
Their best roster, in my opinion, is the year after they won the Super Bowl in 2020, and they came up short that year.
Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending, what J.J. Piccolo had to say about the excuses, basically, that have been established at times for this organization. And I had something happen on Sunday while driving around in Kansas City. I've never had happen before. I don't know if you guys had. I got to tell you what, and I'll explain exactly what I did or didn't do next.
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Midwest Marine Boat Company is celebrating their new location, now open in Grandview, Missouri. And with summer already here, Midwest Marine Boat Company has everything you need for summer fun on the water, and most importantly, to keep you on the water. In fact, check out their service department. They've added technicians, which means turning boats around faster. You're not waiting weeks just to get back on the water. Their service department is more efficient than anybody else around. And if you're looking for a new boat, they have the largest selection of pontoon boats in the area. It's Midwest Marine Boat Company in Grandview. We take pride in your fun.
Come see a world-famous Budweiser Clydesdale this Friday at Side Pockets in Lee Summit from 4 to 6 p.m. and this Saturday at Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park from 3 to 5 p.m. Come see a Budweiser Clydesdale and enjoy the limited edition Folds of Honor Budweiser and Bud Light bottles.
At Century Roofing, we want to protect your home and your wallet with our spring sale on impact-resistant shingles. Get a Class 3 impact-resistant shingle for the price of a standard shingle, or upgrade to a Class 4 shingle for the price of a premium shingle. Impact-resistant shingles better protect your home against KC storms and can save you money on your homeowner's insurance. It's a win-win. Schedule a free, no-obligation estimate from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing by May 31st. Trust the pillars of strength. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
A juicy steak sizzling on the fire, firecracker corn hot off the grill. Nothing brings people together like backyard barbecue. It's time for Hy-Vee's Great American Grilling Sale. Seasoned chicken leg quarters, 99 cents a pound. Ball tip steaks, 2 for $10. Specialty broths, just 10 for $10. And juicy 8-ounce strip steaks, only $6.99 each. Save a bundle on a quarter or whole side of beef. Round up big savings at the Great American Grilling Sale this Friday through Sunday at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Clang. 'Tis the season. You should be out there throwing anything you can down on that flat top grill or smoker, and my friends at Hy-Vee can help out. With huge savings on boneless pork loin, American cut, and butterfly pork chops, the 8-ouncers, 8-ounce choice reserve strip steaks, and more this Friday through Sunday at the Great American Grilling Sale. And don't forget to pick up those sides at Hy-Vee, including firecracker corn, coleslaw, cheesy potatoes, homestyle beans. Good grief. Friday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Loaner Tool Program offers more than 80 specialty tools. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing says summer like an ice-cold Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, refreshing, real brewed tea with 5% alcohol. Look for Twisted Tea in the bright yellow cans. Keep it twisted!
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-341-3137. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-341-3137. 800-341-3137. That's 800-341-3137.
Use a BetMGM bonus bet to place your next wager on any game in any sport. To receive your bonus bet, simply log into BetMGM account every Saturday and Wednesday between May 13th and June 7th to bet on any game of your choice. Then add any type of bet on any game to your bet slip and activate your bonus bet. There is no deposit or additional wager required. Want even more BetMGM action? Enjoy the daily promotions, live betting options, and the all-new signature bets only at BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Promotion may differ per customer. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years in age and older to physically present in Kansas to bet. Existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued at non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Not all water heaters are made equally. Some can be temperamental. Some can be unreliable and don't even think about what happens if you have neighbors downstairs.
Why is it raining inside my apartment?
Not with a Navien tankless water heater. You'll never run out of hot water. You only heat water when you need it, saving you tons in utility costs. Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com to learn more.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Listen to the all-new Out of Options podcast with episodes released every Tuesday. Subscribe and download now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Well, the All-Star balloting for the 2023 All-Star Game, which will take place up in Seattle, is just opened up in the last couple of minutes. Phase 1, May 31st through June 22nd. And then, of course, the final 3 days, June 26th through the 29th, will be just voting for the starters. So you can go to MLB.com, cast your ballot. Who are we stuffing the ballot box for?
Vinny. Let's just start there. Even though you guys tried to have an intervention with me, let's just start with Vinny.
Looking at it, the Royals,
Carlos Hernandez, I feel like really deserves some attention this year.
Isn't it probably just going to be Salvi?
Well, it's definitely going to be Salvi. He's a
what, you think they're getting two? I don't think they're getting
Why?
two.
Because they've got one of the worst records in baseball?
Yes. How are they getting two, Cody? It would take some strong voting presence again from Royals fans, and unfortunately, I don't know if the interest is there for that to happen. The frustration exists. But yes, if you're wondering, Royal starters that are eligible, this is not like back in the day when you just did the holes, punch out the holes, and the hanging chads on the ballot.
Oh, I remember those days.
Online, so there's, for the jokes that everybody wants to make, let's just vote for Hunter Dozier. Literally not an option. Not an option. You cannot do that.
We should just vote for the people who are friends of this show right now. Those are Vinny and Michael Massey. Pasquassi deserves this show's vote. The Cody and Gold garage sale jersey is going to be up.
Yeah, Vinny's biggest competition at first base. Anthony Rizzo hitting .304 with 11 home runs right now. Vlad Jr., 291, 8 home runs, 35 RBI.
Nobody even respects them. They're both terrible
Yandy
players.
Diaz, 320 with 12 homers and 30 RBIs for the Tampa Bay Rays. Those would be the biggest competition he has there. But yeah, Salvador Perez most likely will be the only representative, barring a strong voting push. We'll see. I'm always interested in the voting results when we get those the first week or two, and just to see where everybody's at.
Royals fans know how to vote.
Oh, I know. We all know.
And we are asking you to throw your vote behind Pasquassi. For this show, that's who we support.
Oh, Seattle, great city for the All-Star Game. That's fantastic.
Why don't you go up there? Nick, you don't have enough travel scheduled. Do you want to go to Seattle for the All-Star Game?
No.
Could be fun.
No.
Nick only travels internationally now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
That's right.
The domestic travel
He
is.
only does international flights. Maybe we can convince him we'll go to Vancouver right after. Right
my
there.
travel schedule is pretty packed.
Okay.
Pretty tight.
Yes.
Go to Seattle, just take a boat over to Vancouver, and you're good to go.
Next up on What's Trending, the number 2 high school basketball recruit in the country is going to forego college and instead head to the G League. Ron Holland, who's originally committed to Texas, then decommitted back in April, has now said he will go join the Ignite in the G League, foregoing college instead, and will go the opposite direction. We've talked about this before. I think you'll just get a good mix here going forward. Obviously, Ron Holland would probably had plenty of NIL money available to him, but I still think that there's an advantage in these are NBA scouts, these are NBA coaches teaching how to play NBA basketball. Probably just sees the advantage in it, so he's going to skip college, go to the G League instead.
Just focus on basketball. No classes, nothing. Just basketball. So, I mean, there's advantages, there's cons for going that route. Same thing applies for those that choose to go the college route as well as a Division I basketball player. But you're right. With the NIL, at least, and for one point in time, everybody thought everybody was going to start going to the G League. But NIL has leveled that back out to where there's plenty of financial incentive in college basketball now. Than where maybe 5 years ago we were thinking, oh man, they're just going to start going overseas all the time and playing the G League. Every once in a while you get a player like this that decides to do that. Next up on What's Trending, story from The Athletic today that Aaron Rodgers reportedly had his agent try to get Brian Gutekunst, the GM, fired all the way back in 2021. So it mentions not only did Rodgers' agent David Dunn apparently ask the Packers to fire Gutekunst after the team spent a first-round draft pick on Jordan Love, but now Aaron Rodgers blames his former GM for failing to both communicate properly and win his personal approval.
Win his personal approval. Oh, that sounds like such disappointed dad talk. You haven't won my the dad who threatens the boyfriend just for showing up. You have not earned my approval. You're like, no one cares.
Mentions that the Packers had reportedly attempted to protect the relationship between Rodgers and head coach Matt LaFleur by telling him the decision to trade up and draft Jordan Love was strictly that of the GM. So they were trying to make sure that he didn't hate his head coach, and instead they threw the GM under the bus, and that's who everybody went after. By the way, he's still the GM of the Packers, and of course Aaron Rodgers, we all know, is in New York.
Of course, that went great. Really, really great. Lastly on What's Trending, don't forget, coming up on June 20th, the Cody and Gold garage sale will be hitting the airwaves and, of course, online. It will be available for the first time at 610sportskc.com. So we'll have a chance, or 610sports.com. We'll have a chance for you to bid on those items directly through the website. We will still post the items on links through Twitter, Gold, just like we would before. We'll still mention what those items are on the air so that you have an idea of what you're bidding on. But this time we'll give you like a week's notice, is what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
For some of those items to be available on the site so you can get an idea of what you want to bid on, the experiences you want to bid on, and of course all proceeds going to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
Yeah, fired up about some of the experiences. We have some that we've had in the past, but also quite a few new ones that we're really excited to unveil in the next week or two leading up to the garage sale. As Cody said, Tuesday, June 20th, third annual Cody and Gold garage sale.
What about an experience that's Chipino at my house? What do you think?
We'll start the bidding at $1.
Cody's going to have to have them sign.
Chipino's expensive.
Cody's going to have them sign
on one
waivers.
On one of my many decks.
Yeah, you're going to have them sign waivers
Chipino outside.
That they won't sue you for poisoning them like you did Nick and his poor girlfriend, Lindsay.
Maybe you could pay for someone to do it.
What do you mean?
Like you bid on it. Like you have to give them money.
I bid on somebody to come to my house?
Yes.
To eat free, delicious food that won't get you sick?
That will likely make their insides come out of every orifice.
That one time.
One for one.
All it takes is one time.
It has nothing to do with the food.
If you own a nice
it has nothing to do with the food, and you will admit it.
You own a nice restaurant.
I don't know anything.
All it takes is one time. Someone gets sick. It's the wrong person, a famous celebrity like Nick Schwartz. He complains, and nobody wants to go there. Yep. That's what's happening with you with Chipino. Messed up. Got the wrong person sick. Someone with a platform on the radio.
Yeah.
And by the way, just a bug. And by the way, nothing to do with the food.
By the way, Chipino was
kids
disgusting.
Were sick and they didn't. Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
I've been waiting. I've waited 1.5 years to finally unveil that. Really? A bombshell.
Wow.
And again, the cleanliness of the kitchen. I had a dessert made by Cody, peanut butter cups. Had
all these other times it's gone fantastic.
Green onion.
Yeah, I'm
in it.
surprised Reese's hasn't unveiled that yet.
Yeah.
You know, they do a lot of alternate flavors.
I mean, that was still one of the funnier moments on the show. Is Cody's all proud. It looked great, and you cut
tasted
a slice,
great. You liked it,
and there was a damn green onion.
It was one tiny flake in amongst the entire dessert.
Can't happen.
That's all it takes.
At a restaurant, if that happens, also bad for business.
Hey, what if there's a tiny flake of poop in my ice cream?
It's not poop. It's green onion. Those aren't the same.
What if someone had an allergy? What if you actually
to green onion? No one has an allergy to green onion.
What if you accidentally, where you were cooking a shrimp dish the night before, and you put a little piece of shrimp in that peanut butter cup, and I ate some of it? Could have been a big problem.
I'm not even sure you have a shrimp allergy. I'm still convinced you got poisoned by eating shrimp for 4 consecutive days.
I looked it up. There's no way I had a high enough amount of iodine or whatever it is in order to poison me.
We ran the tests.
I need to do an official food allergy test, I guess, or whatever. But I'm not.
I think we just eat in the studio with an EpiPen, and we just see what happens.
Terrible idea.
Next time Speck's out of town, because I don't think he's going to really love that idea.
I don't think you can intentionally try to have me have an allergic reaction that might require an EpiPen.
I think we can do whatever. We just ask forgiveness later.
Don't know if. Well, yeah, I don't know if I want to sign off on that one either.
What if we have an EMT on site?
More likely, but still, it still seems like a terrible idea, by the way, for anybody to intentionally cause an emergency. Doesn't seem like it's a great idea.
But you weren't even describing it as an emergency the last time you got it. You just said your throat felt kind of itchy.
No.
That's
throat tightening up seems problematic.
But you could breathe? And you were
yes,
fine?
But that's the... Have you not seen how allergies work? Food allergies? Do you hear stories? They get worse as you interact with it more?
But you're not interacting with it. You haven't interacted with it in a decade.
That's why
I don't know.
4 or 5 years.
I don't remember how
That's why I haven't done it. Trust me, I love shrimp. I've talked about this so many times on the show. But yeah.
Let's just have you have shrimp one
Coming
time.
up in about 5 or 6 minutes, I'll tell you
All right,
something.
fine. The text line's got it. You can either eat shrimp or have sex in a car. Those are your 2 choices.
Well, I will tell you.
You got to cross one thing off of this list in your life.
I will tell you
today.
I will tell you in about 5 minutes something that did happen in my car while I was in my car over the weekend that I can't believe
Should I get the What's Your Fantasy music ready?
It wasn't a fantasy. I'll tell you that. That's all. We'll get to that. I'll promise. I told you guys that I had something I ran into on Sunday that came up. I didn't actually run into anything. I'll explain.
Okay. Looking forward to it. The mystery remains. Yep. You were gone from the show yesterday, and JJ Piccolo joined us.
That's right.
And we were talking about excuses. And the COVID excuse came up, which I think kind of hovered over this organization for a little bit because they felt like it hit them at a particularly bad time. And their pitching development and players came up too early, and they felt like they lost innings, lost years, lost all this stuff. But JJ was done. He was ready to bury all those excuses, is the way he talked about it yesterday, which I think is the right attitude to have. But then it made me wonder, because there's only one big, in my opinion, remaining excuse for this franchise as far as relevancy goes. And that is what position Dayton Moore put them in. Because you got ownership. That's it. You got the GM you chose. You got the manager you chose. So there are no more, Matheny or Cal Eldred or Dayton put us behind, in my opinion, in 1 year after this one. How long, and I want to know your opinion, 913-586-7610, do you think the this is Dayton's fault stuff can last? Because to me, I'll give you the rest of this year, and because baseball takes forever to get better,
does take a while.
I'll give you a whole nother year after that. But if we are 2 years down the road from this show, Nick is permanently living in Austria or something, and I don't want to be talking about how Dayton set them up for failure. Yeah, I don't know if that's a country you'd move to. I just thought.
For sure.
You went
for
there.
Sure.
I think, to me, that stops heading into next season. And I understand that baseball and the development, it takes years to kind of turn over and implement new thought processes. And
then it takes years for those things to bear fruit.
I get that. But, yeah, I mean.
It's the slowest moving sport.
Right now, if you were to ask where the blame goes and all that, yeah, Dayton Moore is still responsible for a lot of it based off of decisions he made. But because J.J. Piccolo, was, even though they're very different individuals, but because he was still part of that same front office, it's not as simple as just like 0%, nothing to do with it. I know that's not what you're saying either, but like I think for me heading into next season, I don't want to be sitting here, and I won't be sitting here in April or May and being like, well, Yeah, that was another.
What's JJ supposed to do? What's his team
at some point we can't keep doing that, and that'll be, to me, next year.
But like the reason why I'm willing to give it 2 years, and I know that seems like I'm maybe just being kind to the Royals, and JJ, who's not even, by the way, JJ's not asking us to make this excuse for him. He's never been like Dayton. He worked with Dayton for years. The reason why it's even that short is because he was a part of this system. He's a part of what put some of this in place. But as you and I both know, Dayton was the man in charge. And he was the one who wouldn't change some of his processes to be more modern or caught up to the modern game of baseball and those sports. So we had to have, like JJ, I think, deserves some time to put his thing in place. But I would say under normal GMs, I'd give you 4 years. And I'm only giving him a year and a half or 2 years, actually, because I'm giving him this whole year. I don't think that's unfair. I'm still giving him way less time than I would give other people in that circumstance. I'm not calling for the fire. I'm just saying before the excuse of
the timeline. We're not talking about when someone's job should be on. You asked me the question.
When is the excuse of Dayton put us in a bad position, so we're not winning as a result?
Yeah, to me that ends heading into next season. And I think, to me, this offseason, other than, of course, this hope that ownership will be willing to spend some more money heading into next season, which will be a huge part of our off-season conversation. What do they actually do at that point in time, especially
it's the money where your mouth is stuff?
Yeah, and certainly we know that publicly the perception around that, and therefore also asking for the stadium stuff, even though I think they're separate, but that's not how the public perceives it, understandably so. I think that'll be really interesting. I think the biggest change in the offseason as well, though, has to be around just, to me, you went ahead and you kept someone else and multiple people that were around from the prior regime. Fine with that. J.J. Picollo is a different individual. I think you got to look at the scouting department as well. As much as we talk so much about developing,
their inability to draft
are we
players?
Sure that the scouting department is exactly not something that needs to be revamped as well? I think that's an area I would look at if I were the Royals this offseason.
It's been around here a long time, and for a while they had a lot of hits. And that's, like we're talking about the Kane, Hosmer, the guys they traded for were all the right players. The guys they traded away, even when they became good big leaguers, propelled them to a World Series title and all of those things, that come with it. But, I do think that – but that's why JJ needs time. Look, he might have decided because he has a lot of friends, or he might just think that the scouting department was not the problem. The development was the problem, or that some combination of those things was a problem. Okay, fine. But, I mean, he still deserves time before I'm not going to pretend like Dayton wasn't part of the problem. I can't tell you. I sat here on this show and told you that I didn't like Dayton's process involving the pitching. I didn't like that Cal Eldred was staying around. I didn't like what he was doing for the pitchers. I didn't like his draft strategy. And while JJ is in those meetings and was in those meetings when Dayton was in charge, he wasn't the guy in charge. It's the same as if, there's big problems with the Chiefs organization for the next 5 years. That seems unlikely at this point. I'm not going to start complaining about Mike Borgonzi. I'm going to put that on Brett Veach, the person who is making the final say in all of these decisions. That's why I feel like JJ deserves time. Not just because he comes on the show, not because but what you said. He's a different person. He's a different general manager, and it takes time to implement your own system.
Coming up in 12 minutes or so, we'll talk to Vern, our Royals insider, and get his thoughts on some of these very conversations that we're having as well. But now the calendar getting ready to turn to the month of June and where things are at with a couple pitchers that also we saw over the weekend, Cody, Daniel Lynch get called up and see some action. And also we've now seen a little bit more of Drew Waters up with the big league club as well. But yeah, so this holiday weekend, okay, hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. And it's Sunday morning, and I couldn't believe what actually happened Sunday morning. You guys know we've talked about driving and etiquette. You think I'm an aggressive driver? And
I think you are.
Probably
I don't think that's much of an opinion. I think it's a statement of fact.
Yeah. I agree. I would echo that sentiment, as would Dusty Likens.
And I'll own that. But I'm not the guy that's just going around and road raging either. You can be an aggressive driver, doesn't mean you're Mr. Road Rage. You can just means you're going over the speed limit pretty consistently.
When's the last time you flipped someone off?
That's the thing. That did not happen on Sunday.
But do you?
Have I ever? Yeah, but it's been a long time.
Okay.
Don't act like you've never flipped somebody
I've never
off.
flipped anyone off.
Even in or outside of the car, but continue with your story.
Yes.
Well, outside the car, plenty
Let's not get off track here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Sunday morning, around 9 o'clock in the morning.
That feels like a pretty friendly time, by the way.
Yeah.
Sunday at 9 a.m.?
Sunday, 9 a.m., pretty low-key. I'm still not even – I woke up maybe 45 minutes from now before I was running to the store. and I'm at a stoplight in Overland Park, and there's a white pickup truck at me in front of me at the stoplight. Stoplight changes to green. Normally, in the afternoon, you're right, I might have honked. Might have been aggressive. I actually did not even honk.
Where would it be?
He takes a while. Don't even honk.
What's a while? I need like
5
seconds.
5 seconds.
That's a long time sitting in a green
5
light.
seconds or 5 Mississippi?
What's the dude?
Okay.
5 seconds is a long time sitting at a green light.
So, anyway, I don't even honk, which is, I actually was proud of myself at that moment. I didn't even honk. It's early in the morning, holiday weekend, everybody's feeling good. So then he slowly starts creeping forward. I mean, and at this point, I'm wondering if he's doing it on purpose. Takes forever. And I don't honk, but in my own car, I kind of put my hands up like, what the hell are you doing? Then he just floors it. So he's like angry. Even though, again, I didn't honk.
Is this a nice truck?
No, late 90s, early 2000s truck. What do they call it? Not closed cab where the bed is closed. What do they call that?
I know what you're talking
covered
about.
cab?
Yeah, the covered. Yeah.
That thing. Okay, it was that. Illinois plates as well.
Covered bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he floors it. I'm done with it. Like, okay, whatever, idiot. Just go. Okay. Then next stoplight, I'm going to turn left. Okay. There's a turn lane left. There's already like 2 or 3 cars getting ready to turn. The light is green at the intersection. Before he's at the intersection a ways, he just stops in the middle of the road. And there's a buffer between me and the cars in the left turn lane. So I'm like, all right, I wave him over. I didn't even think about the interaction at the prior stoplight.
You're now trying to do a...
I'm like, whatever. Again, I'm thinking, all right, this guy's an idiot, doesn't know how to drive, but whatever. I'm waving him over. All of a sudden, I see this gentleman, has sunglasses on, probably mid-50s or so, gray beard, roll out his window, look back.
Head out the window.
Look back, and flash a gun. I kid you not. I swear to God. Flash a gun, and he just kind of holds it up. And then
Finger on the trigger?
No. You think I have that? Look, Dury vision, great vision.
Come on.
I can't see that closely. He's in the other lane as well, and up probably, I don't know, 15 yards in front of me, maybe. And he just, like, holds it up. And at this point, I had the same reaction as I did when he was at the light. Like, basically, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I was more stunned than anything else. And then he just drove off. At that point, I'm, like, stunned. And I realized I should have taken a photo of the license plate because I
chased him down, whooped his ass.
This guy just got away. I'm like, honestly, what upset me more was the fact that this a-hole just got away with just brandishing a gun at somebody in the middle of the road on a Sunday morning with Illinois out-of-state plates, suspicious as hell.
I'm gonna venture a guess. I'm gonna venture a guess to say that is not the first time he has brandished a weapon at someone in traffic.
But what upset me more is that this dude just got away with it. I'm upset at myself for not taking a photo of his license
You got to
plate.
think about this. Think about, like, put yourself in his shoes for just 30 seconds. If that guy was so ready to go
at 9
a.m. on a Sunday, probably not living a really fulfilled life.
Guys, I didn't even honk. To your point about I've been far more aggressive. I didn't even honk at the guy for going slow at the light. And he was set off because he looked in his rearview mirror and saw me put my hands up in the air.
In fairness, the last time I was threatened by somebody, it was the exact same thing. I was pulling into a Quick Trip in Overland Park, and he just stopped. He wasn't, like, pulling into a spot. He wasn't pulling into a pump. He had just stopped, like, maybe evaluating his options. And I hit with, that shoulder shrug. They're like, come on, man. Like, let's just move on.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Didn't honk, didn't do anything. And when I got to my car, I was finishing up a text. He was standing outside my door, and the first thing he said is, "You're lucky I don't have my gun." I was like, over that? Sir, it is 2:30 in the afternoon. It is far too early to threaten people. 9 a.m. on a Sunday?
Sunday, holiday weekend. Yeah, Illinois plates, some white pickup truck. Anyway, obviously.
I think
what kind of gun, you know?
Yeah, was it a Glock? Beretta?
I have no idea.
You know, I think
shooter? Was he like a cowboy?
Yeah, you got to think, like, that guy woke up angry.
That's why I didn't even have, like, you're like, were you? I wasn't even nervous because I was so
quick, it sounds like.
Happened so quick, but also more just stunned because, again, it is a Sunday morning. Like, did not the interaction at the stoplight. There was no interaction. I mean, he was going slow. I didn't even honk. I just put my hands up in the air. What are you doing? You're going way too slow. And he floored it, and I was like, whatever. He's done. And then he still was so upset that the next intersection he decided to stop.
I'm not sure that this.
I'm gonna let
like
this guy know. He's thinking, I'm gonna let this guy know who owns the roads.
I'm not so sure this is like a Michael Douglas situation, and he sat for 5 seconds hoping you'd honk so he could get out of the car with the gun.
Yeah.
In retrospect,
well, that's
right?
what someone said. If you would have honked, what would have happened? Would you got
He'd
shot
have come
in the
out with
face?
a gun.
Yeah, honk. What if I would have pulled my phone out while he was still looking. That would have been problematic as well.
Well, I think you got to realize, too, that some people are out there living with absolutely nothing to lose. That guy does not care what happens to him.
For sure. We know more than ever, there are a lot of crazy, crazy people out there. This guy falls in that category for sure.
Because the way I put it, someone's like, well, when is a good time to threaten people, Cody? What time of day? It's like, just sometimes during the day, it feels like it'd be more likely than... Like, I feel like I'm more likely to be threatened by someone at 2 a.m. than 9 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You get enough moment. Honestly, that one probably should be enough to just let you realize, like, don't ever engage with people on the road. Just get to your Just get to your destination as quickly as possible because you don't know these people and you don't know.
But that's what's nuts, Nick. Is I didn't even feel like I really engaged.
Yeah, you really didn't.
I mean, there was no honk. The bare minimum, there was no honk.
You know that truck, but that was all I hit to that guy for him to say,
shrug.
You're lucky I don't have my gun.
In his rear view mirror. Like, I have no right to react in my own car at all.
Apparently not.
I didn't give him the bird. For those of you watching on the stream, you're welcome. I didn't do that.
Someone's going to go scream. If
you would have honked, you wouldn't be here today.
Someone says maybe Gold, it was Chiefsaholic, and he knew. I can confirm, actually, it definitely was not him. That I can confirm, 1,000% was not him.
A little older?
A little bit older, like definitely scruffy, like gray beard, mid-50s, sunglasses. I think I walked in and could pinpoint him in a heartbeat.
What kind of sunglasses?
Kind of had the orange hue in the glasses, whatever they call that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like reflected, but it had like an orange. Again, the part that was so weird, Illinois plates too.
Did he have sleeves?
It
was like a no-sleeve situation.
His hands were for the most part, his body was in the car. He
only got part of his arm.
He didn't step out of the vehicle in the middle of the road.
Which, by the way, he's not even about it. He just he sped off. He didn't even wait for you to even respond.
Again, my biggest thing, and I'm truly to this second, and now it's making me angry again, is I'm pissed that he got away with it. I should have taken a photo of the license plate.
Police report. They got cameras at stoplights.
I should have taken a photo of his damn license plate.
If you know what time it was, and if you really want to be a snitch, right, you can go to the authorities.
Let's take the snitch line all the way to its maximum level. Gold actually snitch on a crime.
Man.
That's criminal menacing.
Or you could provide him with some, what do they call, frontier justice. Find him and beat him like a man. Beat him up with your
text line.
God-given weapons.
You see that? Cody claims they were in the truck. You see that?
Says, quote, I was the guy in the truck in front of Alex. I did not pull out a gun. It was a seltzer to help with his sore throat. Oh, he's just going to toss you a high noon.
I was still feeling good at that point in time.
He's just going to help you out.
Sunday, I was fine. Again, it was Monday morning when I had the sore throat, which didn't turn out to be strep throat. Sunday, I was still at the pool. I was planning on going to the pool Monday. I went to the pool Saturday and Sunday. Felt great. Great high noon drinking all day. It was fantastic. Grilled out as well. It was great.
Positive strep. 100% that test came back?
That's what the test says. And I'm currently, for the next now 8 days, taking amoxicillin. So they don't just give you that for the hell of it. Not his hair.
I don't feel like it's one of those street drugs that people are turning into something. Amoxicillin? Is that one of those?
I went to I had to go on Memorial Day. The Minute Clinic things were closed. I had to go to some other random place that was called, I'm not giving free love. It's one of these other urgent clinic things or whatever in town.
Some sort of other urgent care?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I have a few $100.
Oh, it better not be. I have insurance. I'm guessing it's going to cost.
We got plenty of time to get into the American healthcare system now, right, Nick?
The amoxicillin was $3.
Yeah, that was the cheap part.
The visit, I'm going to guess it was a $100 visit with insurance.
We'd like an update later.
I haven't paid. I had to put my card on file.
We would like
that charge at some point.
We would like an update later on the exact cost of your doctor's appointment. Thank you.
All right, coming up next, we'll talk some more Royals baseball with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
When I'm reading our reviews and talking to our customers at GiveMeTheVin.com, I see it all the time. You gave $3,000 more than CarMax. You gave $5,000 more than the dealer. We also hear, hey, they beat you by $500. They beat you by $1,000. But I hear so often that people make extra money on their used car by selling it to GiveMeTheVin.com. Make us the last on your shopping list. Shop the first guy, the second guy, and then come to us at GiveMeTheVin.com. And if we don't beat your CarMax offer, we'll send you a check for $100. I mean, I don't know what else you'd want. Checks on Bank of America will come to your house and pick it up. 5-star BBB rating. There's actually human beings with knowledge and personalities on the other end of the phone line. I mean, this is a car dealer with a 5-star BBB rating. That doesn't exist. But GiveMeTheVin.com does, because we do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. Speedy, fast. Go check it out. GiveMeTheVin.com. America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
NFM shops the competition so we can guarantee you the lowest prices. A mattress store sells a queen adjustable base for $9.49. NFM has a similar adjustable base for just $7.69. A department store sells a Beauty Rest Select King mattress for $9.65. NFM sells it for $7.79. Plus long-term financing on qualifying purchases. Big selection, big savings. NFM. Store closed early Sunday. Comparison sources shopped on May 15th. Minimum monthly payments required. 18% APR. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Loaner Tool Program offers more than 80 specialty tools. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing says summer like an ice-cold Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, refreshing, real brewed tea with 5% alcohol. Look for Twisted Tea in the bright yellow cans. Keep it twisted!
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Join the 69 Express Project. We're hiring for all positions. Stop by Country Inn and Suites in Lawrence next Thursday, June 8th from 3 to 6 p.m. for on-site interviews. Start earning competitive wages and benefits immediately. Country Inn and Suites in Lawrence, June 8th from 3 till 6.
Attention basketball fans, get ready for an electrifying showdown on June 10th. The ABL presents an epic clash between two legendary alumni teams. It's Self's Army, led by Brandon Rush, going head-to-head against the Manhattan Boomers, led by Jordan Henriquez. Mark your calendars for June 10th and secure your tickets now at eventbrite.com or ablballin.com. Experience the adrenaline, the energy, and the excitement of ABL live in action. It's Self's Army versus the Manhattan Boomers at Kansas City Community College. Be there and be a part of the ABL legacy. Come see a world-famous Budweiser Clydesdale this Friday at Side Pockets in Lee Summit from 4 to 6 p.m. and this Saturday at Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park from 3 to 5 p.m. Come see a Budweiser Clydesdale and enjoy the limited edition Folds of Honor Budweiser and Bud Light bottles.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
You like to move it!
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit GetJim.com.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians you can trust with your house keys.
At Anthony, we get the job done right the first time. That's why these are the technicians Kansas Cityans have trusted for over 70 years. Right now, receive a new AC for as low as $59 a month. From Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Schwartz with you. Random question of the day, about 12 minutes away. Real quick during the break, there was some college basketball transfer news. Former Kansas Jayhawk Ernest Udeh Jr. Putting on his Twitter account he is transferring to TCU. So he'll go up against KU a couple times next season down in Fort Worth. So a nice addition for the TCU Horned Frogs. Man, the Big 12 basketball-wise was great last year. It's going to continue to be pretty incredible, not only with the talent that's staying in the conference, even when they're transferring, but also with Houston coming to the Big 12 starting this upcoming basketball season. But just a quick little news on the transfer portal in collegiate sports. Let's talk some Royals baseball with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. Before we even get to baseball, Vern, are you an aggressive driver?
I am not. I was listening to that segment, and it was making me think of my wife. I tell her every day as she's driving back from work, hey, everyone's in a bad mood, so just mind your business, because I feel like she's flipping the bird at people, and worried she's going to get shot or get me hurt.
Do you, every time you two are in the car, Vern, do you drive? Or is it a mixed bag?
Okay. He says yes.
Yes, unless I've been hitting the loudmouth soup, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Under those circumstances. But at that point, then you probably not really cared about the level of aggression she's driving.
Yeah, then it's just both of us screaming at people as we drive by.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, man. You gotta be definitely reminded.
It's just not worth it. You never know what they're going through. We've all had those bad days. Just focus on the road and mind your business.
We saw just in the last half hour or so, the All-Star balloting obviously opened up for baseball.
I've already filled one out.
Okay, there we go. I'm curious.
I love it.
Who's on the ballot and who's the rep for the Royals? Is it just Salvi? That's it?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be probably the backup catcher. I think Adley Rutschman will likely be the starter. But yeah, I don't know who else it would be. Aroldis Chapman. I think Salvi gets it because outside of Adley Rutschman, I don't know who else in the American League deserves a nod behind the dish. And, Salvi continues to build that Hall of Fame resume. He to me, is now to that point where when it's a coin flip, you just go with the guy that's been there 7 times already and put him in again.
I think it's fair enough that if you look throughout the roster, Vern, I can see the improvement from Michael Massey, but I'm having a harder time being for sure about MJ Melendez and Bobby Witt Jr. versus just being the players they were. Are you seeing development for them this year? They still kind of look like the guys they were, I guess, game 1 of this thing.
Well, Bobby is a better defender. I don't think there's any debate about that. The ups and downs offensively, look, he's better for the experience. He certainly hasn't regressed. I'm not disappointed at where Bobby Witt Jr.'s at. We're seeing MJ Melendez walk a lot more of late. Sure, the punch-outs are still there, but What we saw last year from MJ, the good that we saw last year from MJ as far as the strike zone is concerned, is starting to return over the past week. Just waiting on that consistent power to return. Certainly not down on MJ, not down on Bobby Witt Jr. Look, again, Haas and Moose and Kane and Gordo and all these guys went through ups and downs throughout 2011, 12, 13, 14, and even parts of 2015. I think this is just part of the bumps and bruises of guys, outside of Bobby Witt Jr., all of them in their first full professional season. Michael Massey has been performing very well in the month of May. An OPS of 940, hitting 319. He's been fantastic, but some are disappointed in with Bobby and MJ, that same thing is likely to pop up over the next calendar year when it comes to Michael Massey as well. Massey also a year older than MJ, 3 years older almost than Bobby Witt Jr. The type of evaluation that we're doing this season, so far when it comes to these young hitters, to me it's been thumbs up almost across the board.
We saw Daniel Lynch make his debut coming back from injury. We were wondering when it would happen. It happened over on Sunday. Gives you 5 1/3, 3.38 ERA. I mean, what was your feel? Did anything stand out that was different, I guess, from when we had last seen him a season ago?
Well, the first pitch of the game is a get-me-over fastball, and it's ripped to left field for a leadoff double. I'm not throwing him a parade for this, but nothing snowballed there in the first inning. He didn't get in his own head. Now, it's one starts. We've been talking on this show about Daniel Lynch since the inception of the show, and our excitement for Daniel Lynch. It's much more than one start. Nice job. It's good to have you back. You're so very vital to not only this season but next season. Right? If you're going to give these young hitters a break, right? How often are they able to drive to the ballpark knowing, hey, if we just scratch across a few runs, we're going to win? That hasn't happened. Zach Greinke's the closest thing they have to a win day, and he's only given them 5 innings and 2 earned runs on average. So look, by the numbers, these young hitters show up to the ballpark every day saying, if we don't score at least 6 runs, we lose. Right? Royals pitching's given up more than 5 a game. So if we don't score 6 runs, we lose. That's a lot to carry when you're 22, 23, 24. So it's nice to have Lynch back. Maybe he can be a guy like we saw Brady Singer serve as a season ago as that win day guy where, man, he's going to give us 6 innings of one-run baseball, maybe 7, 8 innings of one-run baseball. So it was a nice start for Daniel Lynch. I'm glad that he's here. You're going to need him next year. He right now is the most important piece of this 26-man roster for 2023 and 2024. But in my opinion, we're not going to be able to make any sort of grand judgment on Daniel Lynch until we get to, around the trade deadline, until August. I need to see consistency from him for a solid 2 months.
Vern, I know that they've got starting pitching issues, and they have all year just based on a lack of depth. Is there at any point you think the Royals should or even would consider Carlos Hernandez a starter again, considering the success he's having out of the bullpen?
Man, that's a tough topic for me because, boy, oh boy, and Cody, you remember when we would dream on Carlos Hernandez and Daniel Lynch leading that rotation with a 5-pitch mix for each of them. But no, I don't think Carlos has it in him. The focus,
the starter part,
yeah. I don't think he has what it takes to give your team a consistent 6 innings every 5th day. Maybe it comes with age, maybe it comes with maturity. But I still just see a young man that gets amped up. He'll make a few terrific pitches and really start feeling himself, and then he starts overthrowing, leaves it up in the zone. Now, that's not what happened yesterday. That was just tough luck yesterday. He's been sensational, 30 strikeouts in his last 20 innings. But no, I think once you move on from Aroldis Chapman, he takes over that 8th inning role, setting up for Scott Barlow.
I mean, there's worse things
or he's the closer if you move both of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there are worse things to turn out than you find out Carlos Hernandez is a guy you can trust in the late innings of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like when Jordan Lyles is rolling out there and they're now 0-11 in his starts, he'll start on Friday. And I don't know. I think we're planning maybe a show party. If the team can just get a win in a start that Jordan Lyles makes. Vern, he doesn't even have to get the win. If the Royals can just win in a start Jordan Lyles makes, I'll personally throw a party on this show. I don't care.
What's going to happen? This sounds like a very lame party, to be honest.
To celebrate an accomplishment?
Lyles really isn't a party much of himself. You guys spoke with him.
We've had him on the show.
He just wants to hit the golf course, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to be able to make that party when it happens.
You're not coming?
No, you're going to have to miss me with that one. Maybe when Daniel Lynch picks up his 10th win of the season, that's when we'll have a party.
There it is.
Jordan Lyles doesn't do it for me.
Josh Fern, you're our Royals insider. We're talking some Royals baseball. I wanted to mention the stadium, though, and in particular the impact that the news now that it's not going to make it on the August ballot. Is that what you expected? I mean, that part back on opening day when John Sherman was talking about the window for a 2027 stadium, they really could look between August and April. Now is November, in your opinion, kind of the target to try to get this thing on the ballot? Do you think we're going to have to wait till April?
Yeah, I have no idea because and I've mentioned this before, I'm just so very surprised at how the narrative is being controlled by everybody but the Kansas City Royals. Yeah, I thought going back to opening day that this thing would be on the first available ballot, that it would pass with flying colors, even if the team was struggling. I thought that John Sherman and this organization would do a better job of being out in front, campaigning. I understand they did those listening tours, but I don't think that went over as well as maybe they think it did or hoped it would. So, yeah, I don't know. You see the counties going at it. It doesn't speak well of leadership, which is odd because I do feel like the people at the top right now, John Sherman most notably, I do think that they are good for the city. I do think that they care about Kansas City. I'm just surprised at the way they've executed or failed to execute the rollout or the explanation to the city as to why and where we need the stadium. I've been surprised and interested to see when they're going to poke their head out to try and take the reins of the conversation.
In your opinion, if you had to guess, let's just put two sites. Let's say downtown, and I don't care, anywhere downtown, or North Kansas City and Clay County. What percentage chance for either? What percentage chance would you put in North Kansas City?
Oh.
Of it just happening?
15.
Okay.
Well,
That's about where we are.
We said 10 to 20%.
Yeah. That's higher than I would have been 2 months ago, Vern.
Yeah, but I wonder how real it really is. I feel like in 5-10 years from now, we're going to laugh at even entertaining the idea of it being anywhere outside of downtown, as if it was really being discussed as a true possibility. I just can't foresee that happening. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, no, so I'm with you. The only reason why I think I even have it in 10 to 20% range, we were bringing up what happened years ago with Sporting Kansas City, where they were going to go out, the Legends and all that was Bannister. And then all of a sudden KCK came up with a great offer and everything came together. Also maybe dropping the ball on the Missouri side as well, but they ended up going over to KCK. And so at the time, I think what you just said, probably people would have said back then about the chances of Sporting Kansas City not staying in Missouri. But I still would
think
bet
it's decided in favor of downtown.
I would bet on downtown
yes.
baseball because that's been the whole idea from the beginning.
Right. And as I've thought from the beginning, when billionaires want something in this country, they get it. He wants a downtown stadium. He's getting it.
Josh Vern, our Royals insider. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
There you go. Good stuff from Vern. And, the Daniel Lynch point, much like we've discussed with some of these other young players, it's definitely going to take start after start after start.
And then probably some more starts next year.
To actually believe it, you know?
I'm willing to talk this year about progression we're seeing, but to fully buy in, based on the way it's gone with Singer, Keller, Hernandez, who have all had stretches as looks like dominant starters. Yeah, I'm going to need plenty of time there on Daniel Lynch.
All right, let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Nick. I'm the J Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7610. So this happened to me in public, and I just want to know how you typically handle these situations, because I think, honestly, I bombed it. But I was confused, and then I handled it poorly, and I didn't know how to get out of it, so I just kept playing along. What do you do when you are misidentified in public? So on Sunday, going to the hardware store, a guy in his mid-60s goes, Steve! That's how he, to me. And I'm confused. I'm thrown off of me. Steve! Hey, it's Jim Stewart. You're like, what? He's like, Steve, come, it's Jim. And I must have made a face that indicated, oh, I've now recognized Jim. And he's like, yeah. And he was like, how have you been? I'm like, well, I'm in too deep now. This guy already thinks I'm Steve. I got to pretend like I'm Steve. So I'm just like, it's going great, man. Really, really good to see you. So then he chats for another minute or so. Then he leaves, and he's leaving. He's like, hey, tell Carlos I said hey. It's like, will do. I said will do. Like that was going to go anywhere. Not Steve. Don't know who that gentleman is. Definitely don't know who Carlos is.
Some advice for you.
So I just...
I think I figured out how to handle this.
Okay.
Next time, do what you do better than anything else. Open your mouth and talk and say, I'm not Steve. 3 words.
I just felt weird.
3 words.
I got in too deep, so I just
Weirder
kept
than
going
having to
along.
have a conversation with the rando, just say, I'm not Steve. I think you got the wrong guy.
He was convinced.
It doesn't
I
matter.
was that person.
Were you convinced? Were you? Did you think for a second, I might be Steve? No, you open your mouth and say, wrong guy.
So that's what you do? You just immediately say, not me.
Not Steve,
Yes.
man. Hey, sorry, not Steve.
I didn't want to make the guy feel uncomfortable that he's misidentified someone.
Definitely is
Who
awkward.
cares?
I mean, it's not your problem there. Now, definitely on the other guy's end of this, like that guy would feel extremely awkward. But yeah, you just say, hey
He was
man,
wrong.
Not Steve, man. Just
Don't
keep walking.
overthink this.
I just said, sure, will do. I'll say hi to Carlos. What's it matter? What's the difference?
If it's just
I didn't hurt this guy's day.
If it is a quick interaction like that, it actually is sometimes better. Like if you're just walking down the street or in a grocery store or whatever, and Cody's setting in real quick, the person's not looking for a conversation. They're just like, hey, good to see you, Steve. Just keep, you too.
I'll
Just
lie
keep-
even
just-
if they get
just
my
keep
name
walking.
right. Hey, Nick. I'm like, nah, sorry.
I was at the kid's dentist
Sorry,
yesterday,
this
and
is
someone
Steve.
said, love your guys' show. Make sure Alex and Nick know. I was like, thanks, man. Will do. At the pediatric dentist yesterday.
There you go.
Yeah, dude, you just say.
Why would you lie about who you are? You're just telling me it's worse if I lie.
Steve and Gold on 610 Sports Radio. It is.
Steve.
He was convinced.
Well, convince him otherwise.
Why? What do I care? What's it matter? Talk to the guy for 30 seconds and we move on with our day.
Why even have, because it's not you. You're not Steve. You don't deserve that interaction.
I don't deserve it. He initiated.
When's the last time you did this to somebody else, maybe, where you swore it was someone and you were the guy that felt awkward because, like, oh, I thought
I'm
that was...
really careful about that.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I saw someone that I thought I recognized and did recognize because they eventually said hello to me. They were an administrator, like when I was in high school, but I wasn't sure. I was like, not sure if I know that person, but I think I do. Just going to leave it alone. If I'm not 100% sure you're the person, I am not engaging in this conversation. That might be that guy's stance as well, but he was convinced I was that person.
But it ended up being that person. So you're not a scenario where I'm trying to think of the last time.
I don't know that I've ever done that.
Yeah, where I've said hey to somebody.
Have
and
you
it
ever done that,
truly
Nick?
wasn't that person.
No.
Usually it's what you were saying, which is you're not 100% sure. You might stare over a bunch of times trying to figure out, and then you're like, oh, that actually turned out to be them. But I don't know if there's been a time where I just walked up to somebody and said, hey, Brian.
Someone's going to say I caused a problem because, like, this next time he's going to be like, hey, Carlos, did Steve say hi to you? And he's going to say I said hi? He's like, no. Steve never told me that you said hi. Wow.
Because this guy's going to see you again ever.
No, he's saying I'm causing a problem between real Steve and Carlos, not me. not my part of this conversation. And also, here's the only problem. Here's the biggest problem with pretending I'm this person. This is a hardware store that is dangerously close to my house. And if it is that close to my house, the odds of not running into them again is not zero.
Well,
so
how often you go to the hardware store?
Frequently enough. That hardware store?
How often you go
I
to
don't
the
know.
hardware store? What are you doing?
Once every couple of weeks.
Really? You don't have everything you need at home by now?
No.
I mean, you go to the hardware store every few weeks.
Always need
you
something.
building new decks on a
There's
regular
just,
basis?
It's just things. Sometimes it's like screws or anchors or a small tool or mulch.
What are you doing?
projects, man. I don't know. When you have a house, it's just projects, just things.
Home ownership.
Just things you do. So I end up at the hardware store, I don't know, once every couple of weeks. Depends on if I'm actively working on a project.
Someone said they saw you at a Gladstone Walmart. They were not 100% sure it was you, so they didn't say hi.
I didn't think I was Steve. That could have very well been me. I've been to a Walmart in Gladstone, so there's a decent chance it was me. He's like, this is the whole text on, who is going to say hi to Carlos? I don't know. I don't know who Carlos is.
If you work with Carlos or interact with Carlos, just say hello today. Just say hello,
That's right.
just in case.
See a Carlos, thank a Carlos.
That's right. Say hello to a Carlos today. Just make up for what Cody didn't do.
I don't know Carlos. I can't say hi to him.
Well,
and I felt bad telling this person. I was in too deep. I felt like what happened was the interaction got weird enough that if I had then been pushy and said, I'm not the person you think I am, it'd come off rude or weird. So instead, so you're saying anytime you guys have been misidentified in public, you're just like, I'm not that person.
Yeah,
because it's a normal thing to do.
They're not normally looking for a long conversation. It's just something in passing, like, hey, great to see you. And you're like, you too, and just keep walking, and it's done. It's over. Nobody's embarrassed. Everybody's done.
This guy wanted to stop and chat.
Well, that's a problem.
We had to move on quickly. What the hell, text line?
913-586-7610.
I didn't do anything to you. From the 816, Cody looks like a lot of dorks. I'm sorry. Just myself and one guy named Steve.
Oh, goodness. All right, coming up next, we get to the 1 o'clock hour and the rent-free experience going on in the AFC next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
He's so good, and everyone knows it.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
One of the best decisions I've ever made happened about 2 years ago when I made a phone call to my friends over at DuraVision to find out how I could get rid of my contacts, to find out was it possible for me not to need glasses for a very long time. And the answer was a resounding yes. And I wondered at that time why it took me so long to make that phone call. Don't make the same mistake I did and wait and put off an opportunity to have better vision without contacts or glasses. You can, in fact, right now conduct a consultation with DuraVision over Zoom. You don't even have to go into the building. People have asked me about the procedure, the laser, what it was like. How about 16 seconds? That's it. 16 seconds in each eye was all it took. I felt great right after that procedure. I was using eye drops for a couple of days, but I was back at work and driving the very next day. You just got to take that first step like I did. Pick up the phone and call DuraVision for your free consultation. 913-491-3330 or go online to DuraVision.com. As I mentioned, you can even do a consultation that's conducted over Zoom. So call DuraVision and tell them Gold from 610 sent you.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All of that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate. 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820. Or check out the website, windowworld.com.
For the best barbecue in Kansas City, go to my favorite place, Smokehouse Barbecue. Smokehouse has been family-owned and operated for over 35 years, and they've become part of our family as well. From their tremendous ribs to their delicious burnt ends, Smokehouse has something for everyone. Plus, their hickory pit beans are world famous. So visit one of their 3 locations in Independence, Gladstone, or Zona Rosa, or place your carry-out and catering orders at SmokehouseBBQ.com. For the best in barbecue, it's my favorite, Smokehouse Barbecue.
Douglas is a real Prevagen user and paid testimonialist.
My name is Douglas. I'm 79 and I live in Chicago. I'm a writer, director. I used to be a marathon runner. Now I'm a walker. And the kind of work that I do, you are surrounded by people who are all younger than you. Memory became a factor. As everyone gets older, where did I put my keys? But I had to get help to stay competitive. I happened across Prevagen, and I started taking it. I saw myself having an improved memory, which at the same time, I felt better about myself. I could not be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for Prevagen.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Prevagen is available in stores everywhere. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who were cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Use a BetMGM bonus bet to place your next wager on any game in any sport. To receive your bonus bet, simply log into BetMGM account every Saturday and Wednesday between May 13th and June 7th to bet on any game of your choice. Then add any type of bet on any game to your bet slip and activate your bonus bet. There is no deposit or additional wager required. Want even more BetMGM action? Enjoy the daily promotions, live betting options, and the all-new signature bets only at BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Promotion may differ per customer. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years in age and older to physically present in Kansas to bet. Existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued at non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. The Cody and Gold Garage Sale, Tuesday, June 20th, with items for auction up at 610sports.com, benefiting the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Schwert. Text line's being mean to you, man. Text line's not being nice.
I'm just trying to make that guy not feel uncomfortable.
913-586-7610.
The text line should be mean to Carrington. Somebody had pointed out earlier we were having our Trash of the Day conversation, which somebody had sent a Venmo request to someone after they had left it. Carrington said yesterday that if he goes to like one of these Memorial Day events and there's food and drinks, he said if people don't finish what he brought to drink, he brings it all home. And he makes himself a to-go plate as well. Gosh. So not only is he going to take every ounce of drinking.
That is awful.
That's despicable behavior.
They have hosted you in their home. And you have the audacity to like take those 3 beers home with you?
Yeah. And a to-go plate. It's like, you know, this extra food you also have? I'd like that as well.
Oh, man.
Be sure not to invite C-Dot to your wedding. He's taking half that cake home with him.
I like the idea of him just taking a big chunk of the wedding cake. I'm like, what? You didn't eat it all right now. What, do you want all of this cake? It's a little bit different.
Here's exactly how Carrington would say it, too. He would go, you're not going to eat all this cake. You're going to eat all of this cake? Then he would just turn it into that question.
Like it's
and
on
if you can't say
immediately.
yes, then he feels like he's got you.
Look, it's completely different. We've been places where there's like way too much food and like, hey, please take some. Please take some with you. Really, like it's a completely different thing. But just saying, I brought 6 beers and I'm taking these 3 home. And by the way, the smaller number, the more embarrassing.
Yes.
The way more embarrassing. If you pop back into my fridge for half of a 6-pack, what the hell is wrong with you?
You're never getting invited back, is what's happening.
That's it.
You cheap son of a gun.
What if it's in your own cooler? What if, like, it was implied that it was BYOB and you had your own little personal cooler that you're pulling stuff out of?
That's different.
Yeah, I think in that scenario,
that's different. I mean, if I was at the pool with some people this weekend, if they bring some beer or seltzers and they have their own cooler, I'm not expecting them to leave their beer and seltzer with me. That's different. That's way different.
Yeah, but like if you went to their apartment and you had your own cooler, I think you're free to bring anything you keep in the cooler the entire time back with you.
Controversy from the text line from the 573. Carrington actually leaves the alcohol. Rob said he would take the alcohol back.
Someone said fake news.
Wait,
because
so
what?
did you flip the names?
No, that's what the text line had said. I was trusting the text line earlier.
Text line, you guys got to get the facts straight because we weren't listening, so we're just going based off the information you're giving us.
Multiple people now saying C-Dot said
Wow,
to
so
leave the
it's
stuff.
Rob who's guilty of all of this.
Wow.
We slandered C-Dot for the first time ever, by the way. He's usually guilty of all the stuff we accuse him of on this show.
Everything I just said about C-Dot, I'm now saying for Rob.
And
I know Rob drinks just like basic white boy stuff. So like he is just drinking Busch Light.
Yeah.
No, Rob's a High Noon guy as well. Rob's a big fan of High Noon.
I rest my
Are you
case.
guys forming a club or something?
No, I'm a big fan of the High Noons. That's all.
You and
Like
Dusty
you
Rob?
really need to take those Busch Lights home with you?
No.
And also, just while we're at it,
why is
don't
Rob
call
doing
them
that?
Busch Lattes. You're in your 30s.
Yeah, some Busch
Rob
Lattes.
will call them Busch Lattes.
Some Busch Lattes.
Just don't. Let me just
I
say
have
now,
it on good authority.
don't.
I have it on good authority.
You're in your 30s. You can just call them Busch Light.
Everybody said Carrington's back invited to the wedding,
Yes.
by the way.
He's back.
Okay, well, does it matter if it's beer versus wine versus booze?
No.
Well, if it's wine, you can absolutely not bring any of that home.
Even if you don't open it. Even if you don't open it.
No,
That's staying there. That's a
gone.
gift for the host.
That is no longer yours.
Like when I came to poker night at your house last winter.
Yeah, you
I
brought some
brought a
bourbon.
bottle of whiskey. I drank some of it. I had like 2 glasses, but then I left, the 90% full bottle with Cody.
What's it say, though, that we are like, oh, that sounds like Carrington? What's that?
Look, he's built his own reputation. That's not
That's
on
not
us.
on us.
Text line says, trust me, I was just as shocked yesterday as you guys are now.
We all thought it was going to be Carrington, but this time it was Rob. That whole show's getting a reputation. Look at this.
Yeah, see, that said he would take a to-go plate of food. Rob would take the bottle of liquor. That's how it all was sorted out, I guess.
Like if the host is telling me, like, "Hey, let me send you home with some of this,"
yeah, that's
different.
fine. That's way different.
Way
Because
different.
they're like, I can't get through all these leftovers. Please,
We're never
take
gonna
some
eat
of
it. We're
this.
never gonna eat it. Please take some.
Absolutely.
That happens at like family gatherings all the time.
Totally.
Yeah, I would say that's very normal.
You know how many like dessert items I've gotten to take home because there's way too much of whatever dessert left from a gathering?
Let's get out the rest of our. I would like to eliminate those decorative cookies. They taste and look like.
No, they
look
don't.
Great.
They are
taste
great.
terrible.
What?
The ones
We
in like
should eliminate them.
the ones in like the aggressively loud plastic containers that you get at the
No,
grocery
I'm
store.
talking about the ones that are like made specifically
Any of
for
them,
events
by the
now. It's
way.
become very popular. It's like that kind of cookie where they like make it out to be like our wedding date. Terrible cookie.
Wait, just like a white cookie with like white or with like
When
white
they do
frosting.
all the frosting designs on top.
Those are great.
Awful cookie.
Nothing wrong
No,
with
those
In
are
fact,
great.
We just had
You
that
elitist.
over the weekend.
You're a bakery elitist.
Sugar cookie with
That's an expensive cookie.
We're 15 seconds away from Cody saying I could make a better one. I could make the same cookie except it would actually taste good. Go ahead.
I don't know. I just don't like that kind of cookie. I think it's a bad cookie.
You don't like sugar cookies.
I don't like that sugar cookie. They're always too dry. The frosting ratio's no good.
No,
it's not
they're
a good,
great. Those are elite.
Not
cookies.
a good cookie.
Those are top 5 cookies.
That's a bad cookie.
I'm surprised that's your take on those. There are some that are better than others. I'll give you that. But to say the blanket statement that the sugar cookie that are decorated are terrible, come on.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous statement.
No, I stand by it.
Wow.
They're too much about.
You should be ashamed.
Too much about show and not enough about.
This
taste.
is worse than Rob
It's a
bringing
show
Bush
cookie.
Lights home with him.
This is worse. No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it's not. There's just no way. If he's bringing home 3 Bush Lights that he brought to the party, that's far more embarrassing.
Someone says. See, that also said he'd bring a $10 bottle of wine and take a to-go plate with more money.
Huh?
So he's saying he's going to get his money's worth by bringing a cheap bottle of wine, but bringing home more than $10.
Okay, so
worth of food?
here's the thing. Going to a friend's get together, if a friend is having people over, the objective here is not to make money. The objective is not to how can I win this? How can I come out ahead? You are there to socialize. It's not about winning or coming out on top.
Correct.
That's not how you would treat any other dining experience, by the way. You would never walk into a restaurant and be like, I'm going to win this interaction with this restaurant.
Yes.
In what way? You're like, I'm going to choose the item that costs them that they have the least profit margin
Right,
on.
I'm choosing the Asian zing wings because I know that sauce is more
By the way,
expensive.
there's nothing worse, though.
I'm going to get my money's worth.
There's nothing worse, though, than someone at a party, and I guess that's exactly what C-Dot did here with the bottle of wine. They were like, hey, I know I got to bring something. I'm going to bring the cheapest version of whatever just so I can. That sucks. Don't be that person.
No, just go medium. That's what we all do. You don't get the most expensive thing. You don't get the least expensive thing. You choose something comfortably in the middle. That is clearly the choice here, right? Like you don't get the $8. You don't get the bottle of
$15 bottle of wine.
You don't get the bottle of Yellowtail. You don't get Franzia in a box, and you don't bring them a bottle of Camus. You just get a normal priced bottle of wine.
Slap the bag.
Apparently they're saying Rob would only take the bottle home with him if it were unopened. I don't know, man.
Once you bring the bottle, like
the bottle sits down on the counter. It now belongs to that house.
It's really weird. Yeah, you brought a bottle of wine and nobody opened it, so you're like, I'm going to take it
I'm
back
going to take
with
this
me.
home. Looks like nobody wants this wine. No, they just didn't want it right this second. I'm not saying they'd never consume it.
That's why you got to be careful, though. You don't go and buy a $60 bottle of whiskey if you're not comfortable leaving it there.
Yeah, correct. Or you definitely make sure they crack it open so you have a few while you're there. Like when you brought that bottle of whiskey, we all drank some.
I cracked
I
it
had
open.
some.
I
You
said,
had
"Here."
some. Like,
Who wants some? Right. Because then you know what you won? You're now the cool guy. You're now the cool guy who brought whiskey. He's fun. Look what he's done.
You didn't want to ruin the interaction?
He has enhanced everybedy's night.
But by Carrington's logic, you better steal a watch or something. Otherwise, you're not getting your money's worth. you better make sure you're winning the financial obligation at this party, Nick. Just rummage through the cabinets and find something of value. Not the conversation I was planning on having today.
No, sometimes those are the best. Sometimes those are the best. Let's get to a conversation though that I think will continue all the way up until the first time the Chiefs play the Cincinnati Bengals, but really there shouldn't be much of a conversation anymore. This is clearly for a while now surpassed the Chiefs and Bills rivalry that they have had, and very quickly surpassed that, by the way. And I think it'll continue to be the case that the Chiefs and Bengals have the best rivalry with each other.
It's hard to imagine it won't be
It's
that
not
case.
just the on-the-field stuff, though. When the Chiefs were playing Buffalo, you didn't have that much off-the-field trash talk, I don't feel like.
No, it was way too much
stuff.
like respect. The very small taste we got of that was Mahomes and Josh Allen at the match.
Yeah, and that
when
was
he made
more-
a 13-second joke for half a second.
That was it.
That's about as close as we've got.
Meanwhile, you got Tyler Boyd, who in May is talking about Orlando Brown Jr. being signed by Cincy and not signing back with Kansas City.
I mean, I love, because, we have a nice little rival with the Chiefs, and just seeing him come over, it's like, yeah, we one up y'all. But at the end of the day, he's a great player. No matter where he went, he's probably one of the best in his position, and just adding him to what we got already, it's going to allow Joe to have more time, and it's going to give us the will to put up those points, so I'm just happy to have him.
The one-up them line is weird. The Chiefs had every opportunity. If they wanted to retain Orlando Brown Jr.,
2 years in a row, mind you.
They didn't have to compete with anybody. It was actually quite the opposite.
They could have franchise tagged him again.
It was quite the opposite. We were all the news at the time was, wow, they're not going to even tag him. Oh my gosh, they're early to let him just walk. I think it's a nice signing for Cincy. I do think it upgrades their offensive line. One up
against them.
The Chiefs beat you in the AFC title game and won the Super Bowl. There is no one-upping to be had yet. The only opportunity Cincinnati will have to one-up you is if next year you play in a playoff game and they eliminate you.
Does a single other starting quarterback in the AFC even have a ring right now? Oh, Rodgers. Okay,
Aaron Rodgers, yeah.
Is that the only other one?
Russell Wilson in the AFC.
Oh, Russell Wilson.
He does.
This list again kind of sets the 40-year-old and the 35-year-old who played like garbage. But that's the thing.
That's it, though.
Mahomes gets to hold the entire. Here's the problem with rivalries right now. Is one of these, I still think Cincinnati could lose this rivalry as the key AFC rivalry if any of these other guys actually get a damn ring. Like, if Baltimore and Kansas City do battle in the regular season and then Baltimore goes to win a Super Bowl, we're going to be talking about that matchup far different. But it is a race to see if any of these other young quarterbacks who are very good, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, it is a race to find out if any of them are capable of going to actually get the ring. And you and I both know that two of them probably will never get one. And that maybe, and of the other two, it's like one will get one and maybe one will get two. That's just how the math typically works out. And especially because right now, and we don't assume it'll hold this way forever, but right now it looks like Mahomes might get all of them. So it's just like, Mahomes going to get 40% of the rings over the next 10 years. He's going to win 4 more. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case. That's just the ratio he's currently working with. It's just hard to imagine right now that Cincinnati feels like they got to win this year because of that. They don't even have a Super Bowl in their franchise's history. Congrats on getting an offensive lineman Kansas City decided to part ways with.
Yeah, it was just a weird comment from
I think it just
Tyler
speaks to the competitiveness of the rivalry. Cincinnati hates the Chiefs, and the Chiefs hate Cincinnati. They were real quiet about it before the AFC title game because they got shut up. That's why Cincinnati did all the talking after that regular season game because they had won 3 straight games against the Chiefs, including a chance to go to the Super Bowl the year before. So they were doing all the talking for the Chiefs. But you remember, the Chiefs, after they got that AFC title game win, Travis Kelce was ready with calling the mayor a jabroni. They were ready to dunk all over that franchise. I'm not surprised there's heat between the two of them.
No, I mean, and you get the last laugh when you win an AFC title game and win a championship, as you were laying out there, and that'll be the case even when they play in the regular season. The story will be that. But let's say Kansas City beats them in the regular season, just continues to reinforce it, or if Cincinnati beats the Chiefs next year in the regular season, well, we're still all going to be saying, well, let's see what happens in the postseason. That's ultimately, this is why the Buffalo rivalry never reached to me where we're at with Cincinnati, because
it was only regular season and divisional, but they had an AFC title game against each other.
I understand, but Buffalo didn't win. What I'm saying is, it takes someone taking something from you that matters.
Yeah.
Buffalo coming to Arrowhead in October and having a Super Bowl celebration in October isn't strong enough. Yeah, there's unbelievable 13-second drive. We have great memories of that game. But Cincinnati beating you on your home turf a couple years ago to prevent you from going to a championship.
Your third straight
that
Super Bowl.
Stings. That hurts. That's why it was amped up last year. Now you did the same thing to them. You answered back. You ended their season. That's how you get these decade-long great competitions, Brady, Manning, and now obviously we're talking about Mahomes and Burrow because, again, Burrow and Tom Brady are the 2 quarterbacks, as someone points out. It's true. Burrow and Tom Brady are the 2 quarterbacks that have beat Mahomes in an AFC title game so far. That's it.
And normally that would be a small, like you'd be talking about 4 AFC title games, but the man's made 5 straight. Yeah. So, I mean, it's already just such an impossible number because that's what's really hard about the Chiefs and rivalry and all that stuff because everyone does still feel like a little brother. I'll be honest, including Cincinnati. They're their best rival, but it still feels like right now, but it still feels a little brother to me because they still haven't reached the ultimate prize. They've stood in their way, right? They stopped them from going to a Super Bowl, but they barely stood in their way, man. 5 seasons, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl rings. It is hard to be like, they're just stopping you from accomplishing everything you want to. If anything, it's Mahomes to everyone in the AFC right now. I think if you actually polled the fan bases of like 5, I think 5 to 6 AFC teams might say the Chiefs are their biggest rival. Let's just start with the AFC West. I think all 3 teams, if you ask Chargers fans, Raiders fans, and Broncos fans, they'd all say Chiefs, Chiefs, Chiefs. I think you'd get that for Cincinnati. I think you would get Buffalo's maybe because the Patriots for so long
Patriots and
held their
all of a
foot
sudden
to their neck.
They might feel threatened by the Jets already.
Yeah. So Buffalo, I'll call it. I'm not sure. Maybe they would answer the Chiefs, but you would think that it would at least be in the mix. And look, Miami's going to shoot up that list at some point just because of like the whole Tyreek conversation and they want to compete and the Chiefs are at the top. It's probably only 4, maybe 5 teams at the moment But there are a lot of teams who would answer the Chiefs are their biggest rival, and the Chiefs can only answer one team.
Well,
for a while, it'll be Cincinnati.
Yeah, because on the flip side, there's the Chiefs. When you host 5 straight AFC title games, you're enemy number one to everybody in the AFC.
So let's see. Of those 5, they've lost to Cincinnati and the Patriots. They've beaten Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Tennessee. So they haven't even beaten a team twice yet in the AFC title game. They've taken on 3 different teams. The only team they've played twice is Cincinnati, and they're split 1 apiece. And again, that's probably where the juice is coming from. I just think it's funny that they're like, we got you. We got one up on you. They're like, they replaced the left tackle. They signed another left tackle in addition to that, and they had every opportunity to sign Orlando Brown Jr. and chose not to. So not really much of a conversation there.
Did you guys talk about the finale when I was gone?
Well, I didn't know when we should have this conversation on the show.
About Succession.
Are we allowed to, on Wednesday, 3 days after, are we allowed to, as a group, discuss the series finale of Succession, or do we have to wait until tomorrow?
I'm going to be honest, it feels a little soon.
I think it's a Friday. I think it's a Friday thing at the earliest. It happened on Sunday night. It was a holiday weekend.
Yeah. How about Thursday? Let's agree to Thursday.
Like, we can ask the text line, 913-586-7610, but my initial feeling is I think today is too soon to discuss the end of not just the season, but how a show ended. That's a bigger deal than just a season ender.
And spoiling an episode.
We don't want to spoil. We all know, if you've been watching the show, who is in charge was the question. Who's going to be the CEO at the end? That was then the big question. I don't know if we want to spoil that.
So we're going to let the text line decide whether or not we're allowed to discuss this?
That's a dangerous game.
I think we have to wait till Friday.
I think we just wait. We don't let the text line decide.
Wait till Friday.
We have to take this into our own hands.
Yeah. We have to take this into our own hands and just decide we're not going to discuss this yet?
Yeah, I think it's too soon.
Because neither of you guys watched Ted Lasso, so it's not like we're going to talk about that series.
Holiday weekend.
I haven't watched that much. So I need to do that. But yeah, holiday weekend does play a factor into this. And again, I really think there's a difference between, a series finale, like it's bad to get spoiled, but it doesn't ruin the whole. You spoil how the show ended. That's not good.
It's messed up.
Yeah, so
but some people like spoilers, you know?
No. Someone
but
says,
some people do.
Keep your mouth shut, text line.
Nick, do you know anybody who likes spoilers?
I do.
Someone says, maybe Friday we can do it, give everyone a chance. We'll give a heads up. Yeah.
Your dad or something?
I think we wait till Friday. We'll give everybody a heads up before we talk about it. But yeah, Friday's the earliest we should do this.
First 2 texts were, keep your mouth shut. Mm-hmm. And you got to wait it until at least Friday. Nick, who do you know who likes spoilers?
Let's see who can keep our mouths shut the longest. Ready, go.
That's Cody, by the way.
Wait, I didn't lose because I laughed.
Yeah, you opened your mouth.
You spoke words.
Well, we couldn't,
Nick,
we couldn't have 15 seconds of dead air. That's not good radio.
I had the cheese drop ready to go.
I was going to say, we can't have just dead air.
If needed, you were ready to play.
Yeah, if I started to get the silence alert, then I was ready to play it.
I was about there, Nick. I was about there. Like, okay, we got to do
Wait, is there like an alarm that goes off back there
Well,
if it's quiet for too long?
By the way, we made it 7 seconds.
Yeah, 7 seconds felt a lot longer. Yeah.
Felt like 2 years.
Yeah.
I almost spoke after about 3.
Well, yeah.
Hey, you spoke first. Let the
No, you started laughing.
Let the
man.
record show.
You started laughing, my
Nick?
friend.
No, the first audible noise was you.
Audible noise?
Yeah, you go. People are already saying it's some of the best radio we've ever done.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
The complete silence, followed by awkward laugh.
Yeah.
Followed by Alex.
Your specialty.
Which part? The awkward laugh part?
Yeah. Just inability to stop talking.
Yeah.
Steve lost, that's for sure.
Steve!
Man, he was convinced I was that person. I still think that
You
that's
are Steve.
I'm not Steve.
You're Steve now.
That's just one person.
Yeah, no,
who
you're
thought
Steve. You're Steve. It's official.
Stephen Gold.
That doesn't sound as good.
Sounds like we're just saying Stephen Gold. Like Stephen Gold.
Yeah, but the other way we've already talked about with your name going first, why it always makes it sound like it's a Gold Steve. Golden Steve.
Golden Tap.
That, again, still no good. Also, presumably, Steve does not have the last name Tap. I don't know what his last name is, but I assume it's not the same as mine. I'm not 100% sure.
Someone says we got to wait a month to talk about the finale.
A month?
Get the
I
hell
can
outta
be
here.
talked into
No
waiting. I can be
chance.
talked into waiting another week, as in like next Wednesday. But we're not waiting a month. At that point, no. But I can be talked into waiting until next Wednesday. Right now, my vote is Friday, though. Today's way too early, man.
Maybe next week. But there's just no way we're waiting a month. That's insane.
No, because at that point, nobody cares.
Finales, you have an obligation to watch them faster, in my opinion. I actually think you can spoil a finale faster than you can spoil a regular episode because you are obligated to avoid spoilers of that faster. There's going to be articles. There's going to be social media posts. There's going to be TikTok stories. Doesn't matter. There's going to be stuff that talks about that literally everywhere. You are obligated to get through the non-spoiler part of this faster for a series finale.
People were with their families. They were doing things they couldn't watch Sunday night, maybe. They were out of town, getting back from the lake. Everybody's trying to get caught back up.
Well, maybe that's why we'll give them until next week. Like, I can be talked into next week, but that is legitimately as far as I'm willing to go to not spoil this.
All right, coming up next, we will get to what's trending and one thing that Nick Saban wants to see in college football.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
You pop on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Your taste buds will be best buds with Dr. Pepper Float Ice Cream from Bluebell. The rich taste of creamy vanilla ice cream swirled together with the one-of-a-kind flavor of delicious Dr. Pepper. Treat yourself to a pint or half-gallon today.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your favorite grocer. If you can't find it, please ask for it.
Will you be ready? Business owners, do you know the ABCs of fire extinguishers in case of a fire? An ABC fire extinguisher is for small fires burning things that turn to ash. Flames involving liquids you could carry in a barrel, and the contents don't conduct current, so you can spray electrical outlets, equipment, and wiring without danger. Call Keller Fire and Safety. Keller will make sure your business has the right equipment in the right places and the right service to keep you safe and keep the fire marshal happy. Keller Fire and Safety. KellerFire.com.
Erectile dysfunction affects nearly 50% of men over age 50. But even with so many men affected, finding a trusted provider to treat the condition isn't so simple. This is Jeff, the CEO of Promenic Restorative Men's Health, and I'm excited to announce the opening of Heartland Men's Health right here in Kansas City. As a Promenic affiliate, Heartland Men's Health can offer men with ED the latest treatment protocols which are shown in medical studies to be effective in nearly 90% of men. And unlike groups that only offer wave therapy or online pharmacies that just sell pills, we offer a variety of treatments to help you get the results that you want. You should also know that Heartland Men's Health is a true medical practice, which means our providers have access to a complete range of treatment options and even treatment combinations to get you back on track. You may even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
This baseball season, I want you to get more thrills out of every AB, and you can do that at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Right now, new customers can step up to the batter's box with a no-sweat first bet that's good for up to $1,000. Use my promo code. Go to FanDuel.com/CDOT. Sign up, place your first bet, and you get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. You can wager on everything from the money line, hits, to which player is going to lead the league in strikeouts. And with FanDuel's fast payouts, you can get paid the same inning. So swing for the fences with a no-sweat first bet, good for up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. All you need to do is go to FanDuel.com/CDOT to sign up. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball and 610 Sports Radio. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering under Kansas and under agreement with the Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Douglas is a real Prevagen user and paid testimonialist.
My name is Douglas. I'm 79 and I live in Chicago. I'm a writer, director. I used to be a marathon runner. Now I'm a walker. In the kind of work that I do, you are surrounded by people who are all younger than you. Memory became a factor. As everyone gets older, where did I put my keys? But I had to get help to stay competitive. I happened across Prevagen, and I started taking it. I saw myself having an improved memory, which at the same time, I felt better about myself. I could not be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for Prevagen.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Prevagen is available in stores everywhere. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's not a rumor. I'm back. And in my first Netflix show, Fuba, ready to get pumped up, to crush every episode, to see things explode before you, and to burst out laughing with your women. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you're only gonna get all of the high-octane action that I have to offer. Bullet trains, helicopter chases, pure unfiltered action. So put that cookie down, get to the chopper, and watch Fuba. Now streaming only on Netflix.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This hour of Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Supplement Superstores with 8 metro locations.
Hey guys, it's Nick. If you wait for July to try and start getting into better shape, you won't see the results you want this year. So why wait? 213 Flashpoint isn't going to shed your love handles overnight, but it's a nice nudge in the right direction. Check it out at any of the 8 Supplement Superstores locations in the KC metro area.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, All-Star balloting opening up today for Major League Baseball. Salvador Perez right now looks like would be the lone rep for the Royals, but you never know. Player votes, fan votes, and all that kind of stuff comes into play, but Salvador Perez is the most deserving All-Star on the Royals roster. If and when that happens, that'll go through June, by the way, that voting process. You can go to MLB.com for that. I know we want to make a push for Michael Massey and Vinny Pasquantino. I was looking at the names, though, like who they're in competition with. Uphill climb, and I understand Vote Omar, but also when Vote Omar was going on, let's just be real, there was way more interest at that time in the team.
At least they're not up against Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge at their positions. True. The 2 absolute front runners for the American League MVP right now, so I guess call to win.
Salvi should probably be one of the leading vote getters, period, though, when the first update comes through.
Next up on what's trending, the number 2 high school recruit, Ron Holland, is joining the G League instead of going to college basketball. He was originally committed to the University of Texas, but decommitted in early April. People were waiting to find out if he was going to choose a new school or if he was going to go this route, overseas or the G League. He's chosen the G League. He'll play for the Ignite in this upcoming season, as you well know. Then you will enter the NBA draft. We've seen people, at this point now, we've seen high school players have success in getting drafted highly, going through the college routes, going through the G League, and going overseas. So it's really just about how well you play. The rest of it is up to you.
Scoot Henderson kid, who just is expected to be maybe the number 2 pick in the draft. We'll see in the NBA draft. He was in the G League. Jalen Green, another guy. I mean, so there's been multiple players that have had a strong path that it hasn't hurt
Just a
their
balance,
draft
like,
stock.
do you want the college experience? Do you want the professional training now? Which college? There's just so many choices between there. I'm not surprised these guys.
And the
kinda go
G
over
League
the map.
Ignite is a team specifically designed for this.
Yes.
For elite players to come and get prepared for the NBA.
Yep.
Next up on what's trending, Aaron Rodgers, according to a report out of The Athletic, once tried to get Brian Gutekunst, the GM of the Packers, fired
That's
back
the
in
least surprising news ever.
2021. Right. His agent, David Dunn, asked the Packers to fire Brian Gutekunst in 2001. A year after the team spent a first-round pick on Jordan Love, the Jets quarterback now blaming his former GM for failing to communicate and win his personal approval. It also goes on to say that Rodgers, the Packers were concerned and wanted to protect the relationship between Rodgers and their head coach, Matt LaFleur, that they told him the decision to trade up and draft Jordan Love was the GM's decision. So they kind of threw the GM under the bus there because they didn't want to hurt the relationship that Rodgers had with Matt LaFleur. But just more of this, now that Rodgers is out of Green Bay, not surprised to see some more dirty laundry being aired out there, and Rodgers obviously willing to talk about it a little bit more.
No, it's not surprising at all. And also, yeah, I assumed at multiple points, as a matter of fact, Aaron Rodgers trying to get Brian Gutekunst fired, which would always be my concern if I was bringing a player over. I'd be worried if I was the coach or the GM, be like, we gave this guy a lot of power because we gave up the world to get him over here, and we've made it all about him. There's problems, and he tries to put it on us. We're going to look like the bad guys here because he's going to have...
Well, but Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, the GM, they were on the hot seat before the season started if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
so
fair.
I mean, if the thing blows up, they're all gone. I mean, everybody's gone.
Everybody's going to have a problem anyway. Next up on What's Trending, former Kansas McDonald's All-American Ernest Uday Jr. is transferring to TCU, so he'll be staying in the Big 12. Nick, how big of a get? How big of a get is this for us? I'm a big TCU guy.
Oh, you're a horn frog? You're a horn frog.
I'm just being
He's
an
a horn
ass.
frog now. He's a Colorado
I mean,
Buffalo.
he obviously was a huge recruit coming out of high school, but he was not going to play for Kansas much this year. This feels like one of those mutually agreed parting of ways. Would Kansas have been interested in keeping Uday if he
100%. They wanted to keep him, but they also couldn't guarantee him playing time at
Once
TCU.
Hunter Dickinson.
He's going to start and play 29 minutes a night for TCU. He wasn't going to play 20 minutes a night for Kansas.
No, he was the most, out of the guys to transfer, he was the most, disappointing.
But also the guy you understood as soon as they got the best transfer in all of college basketball.
Really nice get for TCU. Big 12, like
Loaded.
always, is going to be absolutely stacked.
I like the Big 12 so good now the guys aren't even transferring out of the conference. So it's like, nope, it's going to go to TCU. This is the best college basketball conference in basketball again, and will continue to be so.
Next on What's Trending, perhaps some of the biggest news we've had on this show in quite some time, an update on naming sponsorship for a bowl game, guys.
Okay.
The Cheez-It Bowl is no longer.
Oh, man, bummer. It
no
is?
longer. It's now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. The Pop-Tarts Bowl. And of
I like
course, the
Cheez-Its
logo,
better than
the
I like
logo
Pop-Tarts.
has a little bite taken out of a little Pop-Tart looking thing. Well done on the graphic design there. The Cheez-It Bowl, does that mean less of the, I'm the cheesiest coach? I'm the cheesiest coach. That commercial, are we done with that finally?
I would
that
think
was
so.
on way too much.
What do you think, a Pop-Tart commercial is going to be better?
I don't know.
What do you like? If you could only eat one, if one of them gotten rid of forever, Cheez-Its or Pop-Tarts, which one are you getting rid of?
Over the last 20 years, I probably had more Cheez-Its than Pop-Tarts.
That's correct. Goodbye, Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, done. Brown sugar Pop-Tarts, though, were pretty damn good growing up.
Not as good as the s'mores.
That's a strong flavor. I prefer the brown sugar ones. Are you not a fan of any of them?
I was trying to decide on my favorite Cheez-It.
Just regular, original Cheez-Its, please.
Oh, no. Extra toasted is up there.
White cheddar.
White cheddar.
Hot and spicy.
Just
Yeah,
regular.
God, there's just so many good Cheez-Its.
Regular Cheez-Its, fun.
There's more good Cheez-Its than there are good Pop-Tarts. Let's just establish that.
Amen.
Do you think they give
That
the
we know.
players just boxes and boxes of Pop-Tarts now?
I would assume so. Now that you can give them stuff, they're probably wearing like Pop-Tarts starter jackets. Who knows?
Is there going to be a Pop-Tart mascot? Has to be.
There better be.
I mean, if the Potato Bowl can have a damn creepy-looking spud walking around the sidelines at the Potato Bowl, we can have a Pop-Tart mascot.
I'm trying to see if there's.
I think more and more of these
Oh
companies
my
have
God!
figured
They
out
should bring
the-
back this horrifying Pop-Tart mascot that was like a toaster. Looks like a snowman.
Oh, jeez.
What?
That looks like a character from The Brave Little Toaster.
Kind of, yes.
The movie, The Brave Little Toaster. That's what that thing looked like.
There is a current Pop-Tart mascot as well. It's just This might shock you. A Pop-Tart with a face on it.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, that's fun.
I would assume that they'll have that.
All you need on these bowl games, you just got to have creative marketing people involved. This is why the Mayo Bowl has done so well, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, because they've leaned into it. They've had a lot of fun. They have people
the local
eating.
kid smashed the trophy into a million pieces.
Yeah, Graham Mertz. And then you've had the now they have a seat at the game when you can be the honorary. I don't know what the name of and this dude just has a tub and eats mayo the whole game. But they've had fun. It's disgusting. But they've had fun with it, and it's why we all can name the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I've never had Duke's Mayo in my life. I'm not a fan of mayo, but it's a brand. Obviously, it's more popular in the Southeast, I believe, in the East than it is in the Midwest.
The head chef I worked with at Webster House swore by it. It is the only mayo he'd use. So I guess I knew about it before the Mayo Bowl, but now probably we'll know about it forever.
Mayo Bowl. That's what's trending.
I've never even heard of a cookies and cream Pop-Tart.
I'm sure they have flavors of everything now.
I mean, you think they've got everything? How many different kinds of Pop-Tarts do you think there are?
There's a Pop-Tart variety pack that has strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, cherry, lemon, cinnamon.
So you're telling me you could have a choice of any Cheez-It?
Snickerdoodle Pop-Tart, confetti cupcake, and frosted grape. There you go.
You tell me you could have any kind of Cheez-It, and you would choose plain Cheez-It.
Well, no, it's not plain. It's not plain. It literally can't be plain. It's the original Cheez-It.
And what was your favorite?
I don't think it's a bad take. I mean, it's an elite flavor.
Cheez-It's fantastic. There's plenty of flavor in original Cheez-It. This is not the same as the Tostitos chip thing. This is
or the Lay's potato chip.
A Cheez-It is a Cheez-It.
Yeah, Cheez-It. The original Cheez-It is a very, very strong flavor. I mean, it's at least an 8 out of 10.
Cheez-Its are good, man. I'll get it from the vending machine occasionally. We have them right here at work. That's really the only time I get them now. I would buy a box. I haven't bought a box of Cheez-Its in a little while. But if there's Cheez-It at a vending machine, it's usually one of the better options, actually.
I think if there was a contest for the person who spent the least amount at the grocery store in a given month, you might win. Do you spend less than $50 for an entire month's worth of groceries in your house?
No, because I have to buy other stuff too.
I just meant groceries.
Because I still have to buy shampoo.
You don't have to buy that at the grocery store. You could just buy that at a different store.
I usually buy one at the grocery store. Not usually. I mean, this past weekend, I grilled hamburgers and stuff, so I ended up spending some money at the grocery store.
But just in a normal month, what do you spend per week at the grocery store?
I couldn't tell you. Not
Are
very
there
much.
weeks you don't spend any money?
At a grocery store?
Yes.
Yes.
That's insane. It just seems crazy to me.
Absolutely there is. But there's usually something I have to get, like, you run out of, just one more. You're like, oh, I need more. Hey, toothpaste is running low. I need to go. Like, I don't buy.
I'm surprised you go to the grocery store if you're like, I'm low on if you were only low on toothpaste, I'm surprised you're like, I'm not going to go to Walmart or Target or.
Well, I mean, I have, but there's a grocery store that's a 3-minute drive from me, so it's just very convenient. The Walmart is where I was headed, by the way, when this guy flashed his gun at me while driving. Talked about that earlier in the show. Brandished his gun while stopping on the intersection. This
All right,
lunatic.
so let's get to the bottom of it. Are you going to file a police report? Everybody on the text line says that they'd have no problem locating this person via the traffic cams.
I don't know if I should.
Or are you going to go in and file a police report?
I thought about it.
Help America.
I thought about it.
Help your fellow citizens.
Again, if you're just listening, on Sunday morning I was driving, 9 o'clock in the morning in Overland Park, okay? We're at a stoplight. There's a white pickup truck in front of me, and you guys know I can be an aggressive driver, but this is one of those instances where I was actually very patient. I didn't even honk. I'm behind him in my car. He doesn't go for the first 5 seconds of the light turning green. So in my own car.
I think he was trying to start a fight.
In my own car, I put my hands up, basically like, what the hell is going on? I didn't honk. I swear I did not honk. So then he just creeps along, goes like really slow for the next 5 or 10 seconds, whatever. Then all of a sudden, and I still don't honk, and then he just floors it. I'm like, all right, this guy's nuts, whatever. Moved on with my day, I thought. Next stoplight, I'm going to turn left. Before he gets to the stoplight, he stops in the middle of the road, and I'm already slow enough at this point in time to turn that there's a gap. I'm like, hey, I started waving him into the lane, right? Like, hey, just get over.
Sure.
Like, I'm just more thinking this guy doesn't know how to drive. Like, whatever.
Yeah, you're like, didn't know how to drive before, now he doesn't know how to drive now.
I'm waving him over. He looks out his driver's side window, looks back. He's got sunglasses on, like white, scruffled, scruff. And then just pulls up, like basically just like shows off his gun. Just shows his gun.
And then drove off.
And at that point I was more stunned, so I'm just like, I did the hand thing again, like, what are you doing, man? And then he drove off, and I'm pissed at myself because I didn't take a photo of the license plate. This a-hole with Illinois plates, probably like early 2000s white pickup truck. Piss me off.
I think you should. I think you should go to the police station. You should
brandish a gun.
Nick, what do you think? You think you should go try to find out if they can find him on the traffic cam?
Yes, do society a favor.
You know, Dana Wright, I didn't expect you to be eating right now. I'm sorry, but you clearly are based on that sound.
Someone thinks you're someone's Cody. If you're going to not file a police report, stop talking about it. One, it's not Cody.
How can I file a police
report?
report?
Me, not him. It didn't happen to him. But thank you. I think they got you.
I don't think I can file it on behalf of him.
They got you and I confused somehow. 3.5 years doing this show.
Somebody recently threatened our coworker Dana Wright, and she got that person in trouble.
Yeah, that's a whole different. That's a whole different story.
Well, I mean, this person threatened you. They put a gun on a window. That's menacing.
Trust me, I wasn't happy about it. But I feel like it's too late now. I didn't take a photo of the license plate. I understand they probably can look it up. Do you think they want to waste their time looking up traffic cameras to find out? This?
I mean, that is kind of like, I don't care if they want to waste their time or not. Kind of the job.
Trust me, at the time
I know Nick accuses me of telling people how to do their job way too much, but I don't know. That's kind of your job. If I come in and say someone brandished a gun near me, look it up. I don't care if you don't feel like doing it today.
I was kind of over it by the time I got to yesterday. And then talking about it now on the show again today,
is like
now it's pissed me off more knowing this guy just got away. You don't just get a flash.
You think you're the last or first person he's going to do this to?
Absolutely not.
Not until there's some consequence for this man's action.
Suspicious as hell anyway. Holiday weekend, 9 a.m. Illinois plates by yourself. You're that angry in the morning.
I'm still convinced now that he sat at that light because he wanted you to honk because he wanted to flash the gun.
People are crazy, I guess.
He wanted to cause a problem then, and then he escalated, and again he drove off. So he's a coward on top of it. Like he didn't even he just flashed it and drove away.
Stop talking about it. He's going to come to your parking lot. Okay, first of all, he has no idea who the hell we are. Second of all, he's probably not.
It was Alex.
Give me a break. Yeah, might want to stop talking about it.
Boy, what are the odds that random guy with the Illinois plate happened to be listening to this?
That'd be something.
Happened to be a listener of this show.
Yeah, something tells me that's a no.
Have you considered as a result of this starting packing heat yourself?
I have not. I did not consider that.
I just thought, maybe.
Have you considered that on a regular basis?
Well, the only person who threatened me just said, "You're lucky I didn't have my gun." So he didn't even show it to me. So, in my defense, it's never escalated beyond that point.
Again, I didn't even think this was much of an interaction. That's what's crazy.
That sounds like it sounded like you were being relatively tame.
I swear I didn't honk. I didn't flip anybody off.
How big? Give me. How big was your gesture? Was it like, "Come on"? Or was it like,
it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
Shrug.
I just just
okay. Medium level?
Yeah. It wasn't like, what are you going to do? It wasn't something crazy like that.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What level?
People are nuts. Someone says you did not get shot. That's all that's important. I agree. I agree with that. I agree.
Just a general daily.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when stuff like this happens, like you're lucky. You're lucky that it's. I mean, we've talked about this before.
The guy who punched me in the face. Why do you fight back? I'm like, a random person punched me in the face with absolutely no warning in the middle of the street. You think that's a person I want to fight?
Well, I also just mean for that guy too, though, that did this on Sunday.
He's like, you're not a crazy.
Exactly, and this is why you hear terrible stories, unfortunately, about real, road rage incidents where people do like. If he does that to the wrong person, someone else that does have a gun with them is like, you're not doing that. And then all of a sudden you got two idiots shooting at each other in the middle of the road. Anyway. Yeah.
Well,
that's my rant.
I think you should file a police report.
I don't know.
Can you just call it in? How's it work?
I don't know.
Just make a phone call and be like, do you mind?
Can I just do it online? Can we just do it online, please? I don't really want to waste the time.
They probably don't let you do it online because that would make it a little too
I want to make
easy.
Sure. It's now like it's more just like you
don't get to get away with it.
Yeah, it's more. That's what it is. Like, screw you, a-hole. That's basically where I'm at with this.
I think it's fair. I think it's more than fair. Speaking of not getting away from things, this is a perfect transition. Nick Saban. He wants to, according to him, unionize the sport of college football, but I don't think he actually knows what that means. He describes it as trying to make it exactly like the NFL. But here's the thing. Do you want a draft for high school players? Do you want salary caps for the total amount you can spend on players? No, you don't want any of those. You know what Nick Saban, truthfully, the only thing Nick Saban wants, a cap on how much you can spend per player. Not a total amount you can spend on all the players, just the cap on how much you can spend per player because he's sick of getting outbid or anybody having a chance or having to, you know what it is? He's tired of some 18-year-old who he doesn't think he should have to listen to tell him that he's got $1.2 million on the table from Texas if he goes there, and how close are they to getting to that number? That's the entire college coach complaint. it feels like you're no longer quite as in control as you used to be. And you say things like, I want to unionize the sport, which means I want control back of these players.
So one, I don't think when he says he wants to unionize the sport, I actually don't think he's meaning it to the full scale of like, hey, across the board, make it exactly like the NFL and have everything uniform. Because as Nick pointed out earlier, the conferences are on their thing. Each conference has their own officials. Each conference has their own rules. I don't think that he means, universal and unionize everything. He's talking about, to me, player control, and something that he was probably against just 3 or 4 years ago. And the fact that he's saying the word unionize, well, then that means you have to say that players are employees. You'd have to acknowledge that these student athletes are employees. USC, the athletes there actually have a pending decision right now in front of some labor board, I believe, that will decide whether or not they will be treated as employees or not. That's the kind of stuff
that
is
they have
still
one of the
going
most
to be
progressive labor laws. Yeah. So California's, if the state's going to do it, it's going to be them.
Yeah. The other thing for me, I know you disagree with this, but I don't know what the dollar amount is, Cody. I don't know what the stipulations have to be, but I've said for a while throughout NIL, I'm a big fan of NIL. I think it's fantastic. Absolutely, you should be able to get money for the value you present to these athletic departments, universities. We know the millions these schools are taking in, or athletic departments are taking in through the TV deals. Players should get a piece of that. If I can market myself and make money through sponsoring through a car dealership, more power to the student athlete. I'm all about that. I do think at some point there's going to have to be some reining in. Whether it's a cap, I don't know. Whether it's other limitations, I'm not sure what it looks like. All I know is I don't think what it is now, which is truly wide open, I don't think that is sustainable. I truly don't believe so.
That there needs to be some sort of... Well, like,
again,
what limitation doesn't...
Cap, Cody. I don't know if it's a cap or something else, but I don't think you can just have it
I don't think we should cap the kids'
open.
earnings. I don't like that.
Maybe not, but I'm not against it. I'm definitely open to listening to that.
Give me a salary cap.
But it has to be... Well, that would be exactly what I'm discussing.
But then everybody can still make, like, if you're Arch Manning, you can make $5 million if you want, but you only get to spend $30 million. So you're spending more of your money on that player than anyone else. You want to do it that way? Fine. But then the whole problem, like, the reason why it doesn't work also is you're not signing these kids to contracts. They can just leave the next year. Like, it doesn't make sense. They're different systems. Trying to pretend like college football and the NFL can be the same is ludicrous. They are not the same. They are so inherently different from a million different ways. Like you'd mentioned, to the simple things, like the officiating, to the rules differences, to the way the college programs work and how there is no equality, to the fact that there's just simply no draft for players coming out of there. So you can't, like the best quarterbacks are still going to end up at the best program, so there's already inequality. You trying to pretend like this is your way of making it equal. It's just not.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the NIL conversation is not going anywhere. I don't think he's going to, they're not going to unionize college football, but something will probably change within the NIL framework. Yeah. I mean, and whether that's at a federal level, because right now it's still state by state, something will happen there. All right, we're back at it tomorrow from 10 to 2. We'll have some more news on the garage sale. New experience confirmed that we're excited about for our Cody and Gold garage sale.
It's Chipino at my house.
No, it's not that. I can promise you it will not be that here on our
bread
garage
baking
sale.
lesson.
That's probably more realistic. Nobody got sick from eating bread in the past.
You get to go to Battle Creek, Iowa with Nick.
We'll be back at it tomorrow. Nick doesn't want to talk about that. C-Dot up next.
Say